A win is a win was the mantra after England's 1-0 victory over Haiti. It wasn't a vintage performance, so will Sarina Wiegman ring the changes? It certainly highlighted a need to be more ruthless, but 3 points against Denmark could seal a last 16 place for the Lionesses.
Stanway will take the penalty, right-footed, and this time she scores! Take two! Georgia Stanway makes no mistake, and England are off and running at the Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. It is, as I say, a performance that offers, in many ways, more questions than answers for Sarina Wiegman, an unconvincing England display.
They know the performance wasn't good enough. You know, the midfield just couldn't get on the ball, and I thought the substitutions came too late. It'll be interesting to see what Sarina Wiegman does for the next game.
We definitely created enough chances to score more goals, and we've got to put the ball in the back of the net when we have those chances, and I think that'll come. We've got enough players and enough quality in this team to create the chances and to put the ball in the back of the net.
This is Talksport, your home of the Women's World Cup. We've got every single game covered here on the network. I'm Faye Carruthers. Grab a cuppa, put your feet up, enjoy early morning live football with us here on Talksport 2. So the Sydney Football Stadium is a sellout for England's second Group D match against Denmark. Just under 30 minutes to kick off. Teams are in. Has Sarina Wiegman kept faith with the same starting 11, or has the Lionesses boss freshened things up? Let's say a very good morning to the man in the know, Talksport's match commentator Joe Shannon.
Good morning, Faye. Hello again, everybody. Well, England are in Sydney with perhaps more than one job to do here against Denmark. We all know a win takes England to the brink of qualification for the round of 16, but after that listeners' opening game victory against Haiti, the performance too is seen by many as vital. And having gone through the whole of the Euros without making a single change to her starting 11, Sarina Wiegman has made 2 alterations for matchday 2 here at the World Cup. England's number 9 is in the 11, but Rachel Daly, who scored 22 goals in the WSL last season, will do what she did successfully at the Euros last summer and play at left back. Well, there's a first major tournament start for Chelsea's Lauren James, who came off the bench on match day 1, as England hope to end a run of 337 minutes without a goal in open play. Jess Carter and Lauren Hemp are the 2 to drop to the bench. So Mary Earps is in goal as England go for 2 wins from 2. Bronze, Bright, Greenwood and Daly the back 4. Stanway, Walsh and Toon in midfield. James, Russo and Kelly up front. And there's just the one change for Denmark, who began their World Cup campaign with victory over China on match day 1. Denmark could potentially progress to the round of 16 today if they were to win, and the results were to go fall in the other game in Group D between Haiti and China later on. Madsen into the 11 in place of Sørensen. Pernille Harder, formerly of Chelsea, the captain, starts. Christensen in goal. Saveka, Balesaga, Boy and Veer the back 4. Karen Holmgaard, Hasbo and Kuhl of Arsenal in midfield. Madsen, Thompson and Harder are the front 3, Faye.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Joe. Alongside Joe, a World Cup bronze medalist with England in 2015, Leanne Sanderson. How you doing?
Good morning, Faye.
So, we called it, didn't we? 2 changes, 2 big calls, and we called them on Talksport's Women's World Cup Daily Show. Rachel Daly and Lauren James starting at the expense of Jess Carter and Lauren Hemp. What's your initial thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm delighted. I think, obviously, we always say in Sarina, we trust, don't we, Faye? And I said it before the tournament that I would play Rachel Daly at left back because Sarina did it in the Euros, and I was saying I don't know if Rachel Daly should be playing there based upon in the American League and the NWSL she was the top goal scorer over there, and I think because people haven't seen that, they then assume that she should be just starting in that number 9 role. It sounds crazy because she's the top goal scorer in the WSL, but I like these changes. I think personally though, I'd have taken Ella Toon out and put Lauren James in the 10, but we can't be happy with every single thing, can we, Faye? You know, like we can't be carried away. So I think definitely a better performance is needed from the last game against Haiti. It wasn't good enough, but then again, we have this ability to maybe just not give Haiti enough credit for what they did. They're ranked 53rd in the world, but I thought they were exceptional, and I think first time England have ever played them ever, and I think they did a really good job. So better performance is needed today. Wasn't good enough the other day, and I hope that the girls can do it, because if they play like they did against Haiti today, it'll be really difficult for them.
Yeah, it's going to feel as if people will turn a little bit. You know, they've talked in camp about the narrative outside and what we all think, the media and the fans, about that performance against Haiti. They're not too concerned, but a lot of people are still going to question the WSL's Golden Boot winner starting at left back. But it gives Sarina Wiegman a different option if she did want to freshen things up in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people have spoken about Bethany England can be that player that can also come in, because she wasn't even a topic of conversation. And how, I don't know. You know, for Tottenham Hotspur, she's been banging in the goals since she went there. Great move from Chelsea, and I've always been a fan of hers, so she's an option as well. And I think it's interesting because it's our job, Faye, isn't it, to give our opinions. We're not always right, but that's our job. And I think this is where the women's game is at now, where people need to say these types of things. You know, I want this player to play, this player shouldn't be playing. There's no malice in it. I've said this a lot of times. It's just based upon opinions, and our opinions are not always right. I don't think there's a narrative where everybody is saying it was a disaster, but the performance wasn't good enough. And the same as what we do in the men's game, we're going to say it wasn't good enough, but we want the team to succeed and we want them to be better.
Absolutely. What is Lauren James going to bring that Lauren Hemp maybe didn't against Haiti? Because actually, Lauren Hemp was one of the standout players, you thought.
Yeah, I agree. And I thought Chloe Kelly in that game in the second half was exceptional. I think Lauren Hemp in the Euros last summer was that player that everybody tipped to be the best player for England. And then Beth Mead ended up being that player. And then kind of everybody then started talking about how good Beth Mead was when she was good before the tournament. So Lauren James and Lauren Hemp are completely different players. Lauren James brings that flair, that creativity, and Lauren Hemp obviously usually just gets down the end line and puts a really good ball into the box. So completely different way of playing, but I think Lauren James is one of the best players we have. She'd be one of my first names down on the team sheet. The creativity, she's got that different ability to do stuff that other players can't. And I love that about her. She's the reason why people go and watch football, because she does things that other players just don't see. She's not scared to be creative. And I think it's a big statement that Sarina Wiegman's made these changes. I personally would have taken out Ella Toone and put Lauren James in the 10. But like I said, we can't always, get what we want in life.
Yeah. Sarina Wiegman also spoke about the need to be ruthless, didn't she? 21 shots against Haiti, 11 of them on target. But ultimately, those 11 were kind of comfortable for Haiti to deal with. With a defensively solid Denmark, they've got to be more clinical this time.
Yeah, they have. And it's interesting because you mentioned it before, Faye, before the tournament. It was a really good point about the lack of goals going into the tournament, tying with Portugal, losing to Australia. And remember I was saying, we'll be okay. And then we got into the tournament and it almost seemed like we hadn't really kicked on. I think we're creating, but the chances are just... We saw when Rachel Daly come into the game the other day, Lucy Bronze seemed to then put the more balls into the box. So I think maybe Alessia Russo needs to stay a little bit higher up the field of play, in and around the 18-yard box, instead of keep dropping deep, where she can really impact the opposition's goal. So I think Rachel Daly at left back today will be certainly better. Something needed to change in the back line. I think that was the concern for me. The concern wasn't the fact that Kira Walsh... I don't think Kira Walsh had a bad game. They just... Demornay and Mondesir did a really good job of boxing her out, and these things happen, and then we need a different plan. If Kira Walsh can't get on the ball, then what's the plan B and plan C? And I have no doubt that Sarina Wiegman has that in her locker now, where she's thinking, okay, if Kira Walsh doesn't get the ball, what do we do? Who else is going to get on it? Because when Kira Walsh wasn't getting it, then Ella Toone and Georgia Stanway, they went missing.
She always talks about finding solutions, doesn't she? And you're exactly right. It feels as if teams have now worked out where England's main threat is, and it's not the obvious players that you see. The outlet for a long time now has been Kira Walsh, and if you smother her and stop those balls coming through in midfield, that's a large part of the game plan, enabling you to maybe catch England on the counter-attack, and Denmark will definitely know that.
Yeah, and I think the Danes will look at that game the other day and think, this is what we can definitely do, because I think it's one thing saying we're going to stop Kira Walsh from getting on the ball, but Haiti actually implemented that game plan fantastically well, and actually, as crazy as it sounds, could have potentially have won that game if Borgella and that would have put the ball in the back of the net when there was an opportunity to. So England won. It's not devastation. We saw that in the Euros last summer, didn't we, Faye? We spoke about it in the Austria game, opening game at Old Trafford. Beth Mead scored that early goal and it was quite underwhelming, but a win's a win, clean sheet, and we move on. But I think against the better teams like the Danish, Pernilla Harder, you can't go to sleep on players like that, because they will hurt you.
Yep, they really will. Let's hear from the woman herself, shall we? Sarina Wiegman, speaking to Talksport, said they're feeling positive despite that reaction to the Haiti performance.
I wasn't that negative. I just thought we had a very hard game, a tough game, and I think Haiti was very good and what we expected, very strongly counter-attack. Looking back at the game, I think we had lots of things we did well. How we approached the game, how we wanted to play, you could really see that the team has been tried to do that. And at some moments in the game we did really well. I think the second half was a little better than the first half. But at the second half we had moments that we really got rhythm, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, they've got to find that rhythm because it felt quite stop-start against Haiti, didn't it? And, you know, we've talked previously about them building momentum throughout the tournament and going forward. And the opening game is not always the best judge of what this England team can do. But what I find quite interesting is Sarina Wiegman, Leanne, has always, you know, kind of defended her choices and said that it feels as if people target her as a manager who never makes changes and likes a settled 11, but she actually takes it game by game and looks at what the best players are to start, and that's clearly what she's done here.
And I love that about her, and the fact that she's won 2 back-to-back European Championships. It's almost like, who are we to question any selection she does? I think we don't really usually see coaches in tournaments not making any changes, but I think she's adaptable. I think there was times when I played for England that the day before we always knew who was going to be coming into the game. Yes, coaches have an idea, but in training they'd start to give the other player the bib. You know, you'd see, like, sometimes I'd switch in for Kelly Smith or Ellen White, or I'd be starting and they'd come in, you know, so you kind of know. Whereas what I love about Sarina Wiegman is I think she makes in-game decisions, and that's what the best managers in the world do. And that's why she is one of the best.
Absolutely, and hopefully it's going to pay off for England. They can potentially secure their place in the last 16. Obviously, other results pending, but it would certainly put them in the box seat to do that. Back with Leanne shortly. We'll also hear from our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. You're listening to the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 on Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software. Dream bigger. We'll continue our build-up to England's second Group D game against Denmark next. This is World Cup Live on Talksport 2.
Bonza ball-bashing commentary.
The FIFA Women's World Cup
Live
on Talksport 2.
What a ripper!
You're listening to the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 on Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software. Dream bigger. I'm Faye Carruthers. We're building up to live commentary of England's second Group D match against Denmark. Talksport's England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is soaking up the atmosphere at the Sydney Football Stadium. About 15 minutes until kick-off. How's it building, Courtney?
Yeah, building very well. I'm looking around me and can see lots of England shirts and down to my left. You know, all the flags as well from different parts of the UK, so everyone's very excited. They're expecting a sellout, 45,500 this one holds Sydney Football Stadium. It's not quite full yet, but I'm sure as you say, in about 15 minutes it'll be absolutely bouncing.
And we saw 2,500 fans turn up to watch the Lionesses train the other day in their open training session. It really feels as if World Cup fever has hit Australia.
Yeah, certainly. I think especially with the Lionesses as well. I think I've spoken to a lot of Australians and they sort of say, look, after the Matildas, the Lionesses we're adopting them as our second team, so there's certainly a lot of support for the Lionesses. And I was speaking to Lucy Bronze yesterday and she was saying how much that spurs everyone on.
Yeah, it's huge for them, isn't it? Especially when they're so far away from home. And obviously what carried them forward in Euro 2022 was that home support. So a home away from home is vital. You've been watching the warm-ups closely. How's everyone looking?
Yeah, looking a lot sharper, I think, in terms of forward. Always watching the shooting drills, and yeah, it's looking really good. I'm hoping we see a lot more dynamism, especially in the first half, and come out flying, because in the first half against Haiti it wasn't so good for me. It was very flat. Everyone almost keeping those positions in terms of the 9, the 7 and 11. I want to see a lot more movement, a lot more link up between the players. We saw that in the second half, and I spoke about Lauren James' introduction. Obviously she gets a chance from the start today, so it's going to be really interesting to see how she does.
Well, I think you and I agreed, myself and Leanne Sanderson agreed as well, that these were the two changes that we thought she had to make, and she has done. What impact are both Rachel Daly and Lauren James going to have on that movement you're talking about?
Well, I think Lauren James, for a start, she's technically just an unbelievable player. She can make something out of nothing. She's got everything. She can shoot from range. She can dribble with the ball. obviously she's got that strength as well on the ball to shield play, the trickery that she's got. So she will bring a little bit of everything, and obviously that quality to find the final pass, which again for me was lacking in the first game. I think Rachel Daly going forward obviously offers a lot, but actually that defensive stability was something missing from England in the last game. I think the fact that when, for example, Millie Bright was going out to win the ball, if she got something on the ball and it maybe ricocheted and went somewhere that we weren't expecting, the defensive line didn't come round quick enough for me. And that relationship, I think, with the players you've got in that back four now, I think it's a bit of a tighter relationship. They know each other and play with each other a little bit more, so hopefully that will provide defensive solidity to not give Pernilla Harder any room to breathe.
Yeah, Alex Greenwood and Millie Bright for me is the centre-back partnership that seems more comfortable and solid. And obviously we saw Millie Bright, the England captain, give away a few clumsy challenges, few loose balls here and there. She was clearly quite rusty. Are we likely to see her a little bit sharper again today?
Yeah, definitely. I think the fact that she got the full 90 minutes, that would have been a big intention. I think to be the fact, if look, she's good, you don't want to overload players too early, but if she feels good, I think to get those minutes in the legs, it's nothing you can replicate. You know, all the friendlies, the training games, the training, you know, in the world, it doesn't prepare you for a match in the same way. So I think that's very important for her. Obviously, her being the captain, the spearhead of the team as well, is important for the team, and I think we'll definitely see a better performance from her.
Yeah, I hope we're going to see a better performance all round, actually. I feel as if they almost had a little bit of a wake-up call against Haiti. Obviously, we've not given enough credit, I don't think, to what Haiti managed to do against England, but at the same time, a sharper Lionesses performance would definitely have seen more goals, and then that makes the fans feel more comfortable going forward.
Yeah, and it's funny though, because in those last 15-20 minutes there are a lot of chances, and I think if they'd have, as you say, been more clinical and put a few of them away, a 2, a 3-0 especially seems a lot different. So even with that first half performance that was quite poor, I think if they'd have won the game 3-0 we wouldn't be asking so many questions, and that's where in football, it's in the eye of the beholder at times, and they'll have probably felt good about the last 15 or 20 minutes, but because they've not converted chances, in terms of then the speculation around the performance, it's a lot higher. But for me, and thinking as a forward again with that hat on, and this is something the girls have said too, in terms of they'd have been more worried if they weren't creating those chances. So yes, they've got to put them away, but at least they're creating them. The next step is obviously putting them away, and hopefully we'll see a few more goals tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned that you spoke to Lucy Bronze. We're going to hear from her shortly. We'll hear from you throughout the game. Courtney, thank you very much. England's right back Lucy Bronze told Talksport that Denmark's Pernilla Harder is the obvious danger from a Denmark point of view.
I think Pernilla Harder seems to be the one that everybody will be talking about, not only because she arguably is their best player. She's been one of the best players in the world for a number of years, and a player that obviously English fans will know very well, having played for Chelsea and been successful there. I think she's going to be their biggest threat. I think that'll be what everybody's saying. But again, it's a player that, Millie Bright is another Chelsea player. They could potentially be going head-to-head. I'm sure they've gone many head-to-heads in training before, so that'll be an interesting battle. But I think for us, I think we know we play our game, we up our performances, we're a bit more ruthless in front of the goal, and we should win the game, get ourselves 3 points and through to the next round. I think we're very much focused on what we can do as a team.
World Cup bronze medalist Leanne Sanderson, part of our commentary team. Interesting what England's Lucy Bronze said there, Leanne, and that is, she is the key player, Pernilla Harder, for Denmark, but she's not the only she's not the only Danish player that we need to look out for. They've got a wealth of talent.
Yeah, they have, and you look at that front three, it'll be interesting to see if Pernilla Harder drops into the 10 or stays higher in that 9. You've got Thomsen and Madsen as well, that'll be either side of the flank, so they've got a really good front three. And I think looking at what happened the other day against Haiti, now England have made those changes, I think they completely make sense. Alex Greenwood's now in that back line, which hopefully will breed more confidence for Lucy Bronze and Rachel Daly to get forward more and attack more. So this team, Pernilla Harder though, has the ability, similar to De Mornay for Haiti, there's always going to be one player that's going to be highlighted more than the others, but I think all the players that are usually highlighted, Pernilla Harder deserve all the respect that she gets, because she's a top player. We saw in the FA Cup final, Faye, when they brought her on and she put it on the plate for Sam Kerr. She's the type of player that can turn a game in the blink of an eye, so they're really going to have to take care of her today.
Yeah, they certainly are. You heard the didgeridoo there in the background.
I was about to ask you what was going on.
The opening ceremony. I think before the players come out, they're actually all in the tunnel currently, waiting to make their appearance ahead of the national anthems, ahead of this second Group D match against Denmark. Of course, a Georgia Stanway penalty, the only difference between the two sides in their opening match against Haiti. We need a little bit more of a clinical performance from England this time round. You heard what Courtney Sweetman-Kirk was saying there, Leanne. What's the one thing you want from the bat? We know that England are notoriously slow starters. What's the one thing you want to see with them from the first whistle?
I think start on the front foot. I think get Chloe Kelly on the ball as much as we can as well. I think in the second half against Haiti, we did that a little bit more and we got more joy. I think Lauren James is going to be massive today. And I think the back line are going to be major in being able to... Alex Greenwood's got such a good delivery, and being in that centre-back position, so different to Jess Carter, because Alex Greenwood can deliver from those areas as well and play those balls into Kira Walsh and Georgia Stanway and Ella Toone. So I think it's going to be a better performance today. I hope so.
Yeah, I do as well. Players look pretty relaxed, actually, ahead of coming out. They're talking to the mascots as they walk out, and the referee's mascot even picks up the match ball as they come out of the tunnel to raucous applause, as you would say. And this is the time for England to show exactly why they are European champions and go and secure themselves a place in the last 16 of the Women's World Cup 2023. Sit back and enjoy this one in the company of Talksport's top team of former England striker Leanne Sanderson and your match commentator Joe Shannon.
Thank you, Faye. Good morning to everyone at home. It's early evening at the Sydney Football Stadium on Australia's East Coast. England know a win would take them a huge step closer to the knockout stages of the World Cup. We stand for the national anthems, starting with England. The England players wearing black armbands in memory of one of this country's most gifted footballers, Birmingham City legend, Britain's first £1 million player. Football rocked by the news of the passing this week at the age of 69 of Trevor Francis. And now the national anthem of Denmark. The Danish national anthem, and just on Trevor Francis, who so sadly died earlier this week. 52 England caps. We've had tributes across the Talksport network all week, and no doubt they will continue into the weekend as well. So, England could secure their spot in the round of 16 later today. Victory over Denmark here, coupled with China failing to beat Haiti in the other Group D game, would be job done for Serena Wiegmann, but after a stuttering opening game in which England edged past Haiti courtesy of a twice taken penalty, there really is a sense that the Lionesses need to deliver a performance as well as a result to help underline their tournament credentials. 2 changes made by Serena Wiegmann, her first changes at a major tournament for England. Rachel Daly, the number 9, will play at left back just as she did at the Euros last summer. Lauren James makes her first major tournament start. Carter and Hem drop out. Earps in goal. Bronze, Bright, Greenwood and Daly. Stanway, Walsh and Toon, that midfield 3 for the 5th game in succession now. James and Russo alongside Chloe Kelly in the front 3 for Denmark. Lena Christensen is the goalkeeper. Seveka, Balisaga, Boy and Veha the back 4. Holmgaard, Hasbo and Kuhl in midfield. Thompson, Madsen the one change in place of Sørensen. And the captain, Pernille Harder, formerly the world's most expensive footballer, looking for her first ever World Cup goal. The former Chelsea player is up front. And Denmark, like England, have started their group campaign with a victory by a 0-0 on match day 1. Leanne Sanderson, England need a result, England need a performance too.
Yeah, they do. I think off the back of the Haiti game, I know Lucy Bronze mentioned, at the end of the day, a win's a win, and they kept a clean sheet. But I think we've been so lucky with how well the Lionesses have done since the European Championship win, and obviously in the 3 games leading into the tournament of the World Cup, they weren't the best performances. Against Portugal 0-0, losing to Australia, and then obviously in the finalissima at Wembley went into penalties. So I think the performance is needed today. It's always going to be difficult because when you are those players that come out of a lineup like Jess Carter has, and those types of players, it's going to be difficult because going into the second game, you'll then think it's your responsibility is the reason why the team hasn't played well. It doesn't always work out like that. I think, with Alex Greenwood going back in there, I think it will help Millie Bright, who's not played for 2 or 3 months. She'll have more confidence. I think Rachel Daly and Lucy Bronze will get forward a lot more now because this back 4 is a similar back 4 to what played in the Euros, apart from, Alex with Leah Williamson was in there as well. So I think it's going to be a better performance today. It's needed, I hope so, and it's necessary.
As we welcome listeners from Talksport, it's match day 2 at the World Cup for the Lionesses. Will England get another positive result? Will they get a performance to match another victory? And they are a hair's breadth away from reaching the knockout stages at the Women's World Cup with a game to spare. We are about to get off and underway. Full commentary of the whole 90 minutes live on Talksport 2. It's England against Denmark beneath the floodlights in the early evening in Sydney. Both sets of players have taken the knee at kick-off, and Denmark, all in red, will get us underway, playing from right to left. The game has kicked off. England from left to right in their white shirts, dark blue shorts and white socks. The Lionesses, the European champions, who started their World Cup campaign with a victory against Haiti, though the performance was less than convincing, looking to make it 2 wins from 2. And in Serena Wiegmann, they certainly have a head coach for the big occasion, and a head coach who is an expert at winning major tournaments. England in possession in the very early stages. Georgia Stanway scoops the ball high over the halfway line. It trickles out of play for a Denmark throw, and here's the former England striker Leanne Sanderson. With expectations high today, Leanne, Georgia Stanway's just been caught off the ball, but she should be okay.
Yeah, I think the expectations since the European Championship win, definitely there's more pressure on the players now, there's more eyes on the game in England, and I think, with regards to the performance the other day, we know it wasn't good enough, so needs to be better today, and I think against this Danish team it's going to be difficult.
Commentary continues on Talksport 2 across the 90 minutes. England know that victory against Denmark takes them to the brink of the last 16. A minute gone, England 0, Denmark 0. And England in possession with Lucy Bronze in the right back position, and Lucy Bronze today making her 15th World Cup appearance for England, goes joint 3rd in the all-time rankings in terms of World Cup caps. England trying to break through the middle with Toon, lost the ball long to James on the edge of the D, lays it wide to Rachel Daly, playing at left back as we expected. Here's Toon, the number 10, edge of the Denmark penalty area. Toon surrounded by red shirts. England look quite sharp on the ball in the early stages. James is full of trickery, left-footed cross from her. It's hoisted deep to the far post, and Bronze will try and keep it back in play, but I think the flag has gone up on the near side as Serena Wiegmann stands on the edge of a technical area, taking notes early on here, and the ball is going to be placed down by the Denmark goalkeeper Lena Christensen, and Denmark are going to get a free kick.
And we're seeing, the glimpses early doors after the second minute, exactly what Lauren James is about, getting on the ball, having that flair, that creativity, those 1v1 situations. Once she gets in them, not many people can stop her. And I think England are going to look to do that today, isolate down that left-hand side with Rachel Daly as well, getting up and down. And I think Ella Toone will be more comfortable playing with Rachel Daly as well in those positions.
We will have commentary of every England game across the Women's World Cup on the Talksport network. And Ireland's final group game, despite a couple of stirring performances from Ireland, they haven't managed to get the results that maybe performances have merited. So Ireland are out, but their final group match will be live on Talksport 2 on Monday morning. And then on Tuesday lunchtime, Tuesday at midday, England against China from the Women's World Cup. Then next weekend, the start of the EFL season. Commentaries on Friday, Saturday and Sunday. And then the Premier League season is very quickly underway. 4 exclusive commentaries from the opening Premier League weekend and 110 across the course of the season on the network. We have more live football than anywhere else on the radio. England have won it back high up the pitch. It's quite a high-tempo, energetic start from England, and the ball is knocked out of play by the Denmark defender, formerly of Arsenal, Simone Boy, and an England throw, right-wing position, deep inside opposition territory, 0-0, 3.5 minutes gone. Lucy Bronze plays a 1-2 with Chloe Kelly, corner of the penalty area. England with Stanway going back to the halfway line, and the skipper, Millie Bright. Bright plays the ball 10 yards forward up the right-hand touchline, and Denmark have started very passively with virtually all 11 behind the ball, but they're on the break here with Harder. Harder can't thread it towards a teammate in the centre circle. She was looking for Yanni Thompson, who's a very speedy wide player, but England very efficiently win it back, and it's floated inside right channel by Walsh. A great ball to find Chloe Kelly. Kelly, can she get in behind Veer? Veer does well, the left back, very experienced to win it back for Denmark. But some promising moments early on for England, Leanne.
Yeah, great defending by Veer there. She was going 1v1 against Chloe Kelly, and I think you can already see after 4 minutes, Joe, England have started on the front foot. They look sharper. Kira Walsh has already got a couple of touches on the ball, which will hopefully allow her to get the confidence growing into the game, and I think it's already been better than it was against Haiti. They know it wasn't good enough. They don't need me to tell them that. There was a sigh of relief you could see from Serena Wiegmann when that final whistle went against Haiti, and I think we've been so spoiled with how well the Lionesses have done over the last year. Every team goes through moments. It'd be great if you could win every game 3 or 4-0. It doesn't work like that though, and we've seen during this World Cup, Nigeria beat Australia yesterday. Who would have thought that? Republic of Ireland, I think, had a relatively good tournament, and it sounds crazy to say because they lost both their games, but they were close.
The US have dropped points, France have dropped points already across this tournament. It is not necessarily been the most predictable of World Cups, but as Lucy Bronze said in the build-up to this game, England will take 1-0 victories if it gets them all the way to the final and, of course, to World Cup glory. Denmark have possession midway inside England territory, near side in their all-red kit. Veer's throw infield, and that's a poor ball from left to right crossfield by Madsen, straight to the feet of James. James with her socks sort of rolled halfway down her shins. She is such a flair player, and we've spoken about this, you and I, Leanne. Arguably England's most gifted natural footballer. What a stage for her to make her first major tournament start today. Good ball infield by Bronze, intelligent to find Russo back to goal. Laid square by Stanway, good interception by Josephine Hasbo for Denmark, but England have it back 25 yards out with James. Great feet, right-footed shot into the corner! Lauren James scores in a major tournament for England! What a moment for the Chelsea forward! It's a wonderful goal! Edge of the box, explosive strike into the corner. Lauren James makes her mark on the biggest stage for England, and what a start! 6 minutes gone, England 1, Denmark 0. Lauren James with a magical moment to the World Cup for England.
What a goal from Lauren James, absolutely brilliant. And this is why I said, Joe, she should be one of the first names down on the team sheet. Watching that goal back again, I did the biggest fist pump in the air because the technique to bend it in the bottom corner, absolutely brilliant. A nice little ball inside from Rachel Daly, absolutely. Christensen had no chance. What a finish from Lauren James. And we saw in the Arnold Clark Cup this year, she got the player of the tournament, MVP. scored a lot of goals, in that tournament. And now Lauren James has to play every minute of every game for me for England.
Just her second goal for England, and Lauren James with a moment of inspiration. A player of whom so much is expected, and at the World Cup, this biggest of stages, as Veja floats in a high cross to the far post, and it's gathered by Mary Earps. First touch for the England goalkeeper. 7 minutes in on the goal line, it was a looping cross, and Earps handled it very well. She was outstanding in the first game against Haiti. But England have the lead. Their mini goal drought in open play is now over. We spoke about it coming into the game. 337 minutes without a goal in open play. But what a moment, and almost right on cue, Leanne. We were saying she's one of England's most talented players.
Yeah, she is, and there's been times this year where she didn't play in the semi-final for Chelsea against Barcelona, and I can't quite get my head around it. And I think Serena Wiegmann knows how to manage these types of players. I think we have a tendency in England to not know what to do with players that have that difference, have that flair and that creativity. I think you just got to let them play. Serena Wiegmann's doing that, made a big decision, changing her lineup. We know she doesn't like to change.
England look really dangerous, suddenly they look really dynamic, and Serena Wiegmann has spoken about how they have trained in the build-up, called for more ruthlessness from her team, and they've made the perfect start here live on Talksport 2. Lovely 1-2 and interchange between James and Toon, and now Bronze 30 yards out, middle of the Denmark half. Denmark look really stretched despite having plenty behind the ball. Rachel Daly's low cross cut out at the near post by Thompson. England have a corner. This is the Lionesses that we've come to know and love under Serena Wiegmann, particularly in the last year or so.
Yeah, they look brilliant, Joe. I'm so delighted to see. I know it's only 8 minutes into the game, but you can already see the way they're popping the ball around, possessing the ball with pace. It's not slow, and they look really, really good. I like the changes so far. You can see everybody looks really comfortable with each other, and they've stepped it up again, you can see.
Alex Greenwood will take the corner. It'll be a left-footed outswinger. Greenwood, the long-sleeve shirt and the red boots on. And Denmark look a little ragged already here. And can England take advantage? Already a goal to the good. It's Greenwood with the delivery, short to Kelly, right by the dead ball line, back out wide to Greenwood again. Lots of England fans in the crowd, lots of England flags across the St George as Kelly wins another corner, second in quick succession off the defender Boy. And Denmark have hardly had a kick so far. It has been a dominant first 9.5 minutes from England in Sydney.
Yeah, Denmark need to put their foot on the ball some way, somehow, because England are looking really, really good. They can't. Boys had a lot of touches on the ball already.
Corner floated in by Alex Greenwood. Lucy Bronze heads it towards the penalty area, then a looping header, and then a bicycle kick over the top by Kelly. That's going to drop beyond the dead ball line and go behind for a goal kick. But England look threatening every time they go forward. Quite the contrast to match day one against Haiti.
Yeah, Lucy Bronze did very well to keep that alive. If you don't try something in there, you never know what might happen. I think it's a bit extravagant from Chloe Kelly, but I like that type of creativity where the ball lined up for her to do a bicycle kick, and why not? But the girls look confident, they look ready, you can see they look more confident in this game, and it's so great to see.
England, who have won all 18 competitive matches under Serena Wiegmann, remember, 100% record at the Euros last summer, and when it comes to tournament football, there are very few better in the men's or women's game than Serena Wiegmann. When you look at her record across major tournaments, just one defeat in normal time in 4 major tournaments for England and the Netherlands. And England are on the attack again. Lovely little deft touch to flick the ball inside right channel from Kelly towards Bronze. Bronze has won it back off Veja. Back out wide to Kelly. Kelly down by the corner flag. First time right-footed cross towards the edge of the penalty area. Cut out by Hasberg. Stretching to clear. Remember, this is a Danish side that are ranked 13 in the world. They won their opening game, and you have to say that at the moment, I mean, they can't get a foot on the ball. England must have had 78% of the possession in the first 11 minutes as Bright floats the ball high down the centre towards Rousseau. Stanway holds it up neatly, plays it back to Lucy Bronze. Bronze into the feet of Rousseau again. Ball stuck to her feet like glue there. In the end, there were 2 red shirts surrounding her, and they managed to get a foot in. One of them was Holmgaard, and now it's Denmark on the counter. Quickly in to win it back is Alex Greenwood on halfway. England look like they've come out, Leanne, with a point to prove.
Yeah, you can see it's already so much better, and I think you can see the confidence. Millie Bright there as well. I don't think she had her best game the other day, but based upon the fact she's been out for 3 months, you can't, that's asking a lot to start in a major tournament.
England might be in again here. Ella Toone, left-hand edge of the penalty area, taking on the defender. Can she whip in across? Couple of step-overs from Toone. Plays it backwards. Daly steers it wide to James. James corner the 18 box, looking dangerous again. It's a lovely cross, cleared away by Boy. And it goes back out towards the far side of the England left, and James again. Now Rachel Daly, England's number 9. England 1, Denmark 0. England look dangerous as they push for a second goal. Live on Talksport 2. It's about 7:15 local time in Sydney, Australia, and England looking to make it 2 wins from 2 at the Women's World Cup in the group stages. An England win, coupled with China failing to beat Haiti later, would guarantee England's spot in the knockout stages. James to the dead ball line, flicks in the cross, wins a corner. England excellent so far.
Yeah, brilliant. Denmark can't get anywhere near them. The only thing England need to do is capitalise on all this possession and creating opportunities. Again, Lauren James causing all sorts of problems down that left-hand side with a double step over, and it was good defending in the end, but the Danes just need to put their foot on the ball, have some type of leadership, because they're getting run ragged right now.
Denmark, who won 5 of their last 6 games coming into today. They had some good warm-up wins against the likes of Sweden and Norway. Alex Greenwood's left-footed out-swinging corner, looping high to the far post. Millie Bright is trying to get underneath it, headed away by Denmark and Katrine Kuhl, who plays her football domestically in the Women's Super League for Arsenal. And now Walsh in possession at the lip of the centre circle for England. And I think the speed at which England are moving on and off the ball is arguably one of the key differences, Leanne. They look very sharp.
Yeah, you can see the ball retention. Kira Walsh just did a couple of, nice little intricate passes of Alex Greenwood getting that confident possession on the ball. You can see Kira Walsh is already orchestrating very differently to how she orchestrated the other day, because she just got boxed out by the Haiti team.
Great ball angle to the left by Greenwood to find James, and James is tearing forward, taking on the defender Saveka. And Saveka, a former WSL player, left Everton in the summer. There are plenty of links with the Women's Super League in this Denmark side, and you can look no further than Pernille Harder, who has won 3 domestic titles in her time with Chelsea, has now moved to Bayern Munich. And Denmark have now won it back midway inside their own half. As quick as they do, though, Daly's there to whip it off the toes of Thompson and get it back for England. And that has been the story of the first 14 minutes so far. In England, actually, when you look at how they've kept the ball, as you say, Leanne, they've barely misplaced a pass. Here is Stanway, 30 yards out, central position. Lovely floated ball towards Lucy Bronze. It's headed away by Veer, but it might only be a temporary reprieve, because England are on the attack again, and Bronze wins the throw 5 or 6 yards from the corner flag.
Yeah, just how good is Rachel Daly being able to slot straight back in there effortlessly into that left-back role?
It's played out wide to Bronze again. Bronze has got acres of time and space to whip in the cross up towards James. Headed away by Saveka. Thompson will flick it further clear for Denmark. Only out of play for an England throw. We mentioned the numbers of England fans who are around the stadium today. It's a sellout crowd, 40,000 or so here in Sydney on the east coast of Australia. And lots of England shirts in the crowd, and lots of England flags as well, as we mentioned. Can't see any Manchester United flags yet, Leanne, but I know you'll be watching. As it's smuggled clear by Balesaga, high towards the midway point of the England half. And Pernille Harder wins a free kick. Well, Serena Wiegman could hardly have asked for a better first quarter of an hour, 1-0 up.
A reaction, it's exactly what she would have liked. It wasn't like we lost the game. I think it's important to remember that against Haiti, it just wasn't the best performance. But I think, with regards to right now, it's interesting because Rachel Daly and Lucy Bronze are both equally bombing on forward. Usually one of the fullbacks will sit, but they're taking the game to Denmark, and it's been incredible.
England 1, Denmark 0, live on Talksport 2. Let's go to our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Hello, Courtney.
Hello, Joe. Hello, Leanne. How are you both?
We're good, thank you.
Loving it so far. What's the reaction among the fans, and what can you see on the touchline?
Well, the noise, first of all, when that goal went in a stadium was absolutely incredible. Certainly the overwhelming majority, I would say, fans inside the stadium are England fans, and as I say, what a roar. But that piece of quality for Lauren James, that's what we're all asking for, that's what we all wanted. Yes, she's playing on the left, but you see where she picks it up, she's brave enough to want it under pressure, the turn then to face forward centrally. And what I'm seeing as well is the fact that Lauren James is drifting centrally more often than not and allowing that space, as you say, for Rachel Daly to get forward. Yes, Lucy Bronze is bombing forward as well, but I think that relationship between Millie Bright and Alex Greenwood is a lot better today. When one goes and tries to win the ball, the other covers, and it's looking a lot more slick, and the movement going forward, especially from midfield, is looking a lot better tonight.
That's our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Thanks very much indeed, Courtney. And no Jess Carter, no Lauren Hemp, the unfortunate two to miss out. But England look, as Courtney said, Leanne, a much slicker unit here against Denmark than they did in the matchday 1 win over Haiti.
Yeah, they do, definitely. And it's only 17 minutes gone, so we don't want to get too carried away, because we know this Danish team still have players in their team with Pernille Harder and those types of players that can make something happen in the blink of an eye. But what I'm seeing right now is such a better performance on the front foot. The girls look sharp.
Rachel Daly driving infield from the left wing position for England. She just pops it back neatly to Walsh, and Walsh clips the ball high, left to right onto the feet of Lucy Bronze, who plucks it out of the air, comes in field away from Rika Marie Madsen. But Denmark have hardly been able to string 3 passes together in the game, and Harder has barely had a kick, the influential number 10, and still probably one of the world's best players, certainly one of European football's best players. That's a decent pass by Bright, inside right channel towards Russo, just inside the penalty area, a little too much on it, and behind and away for a goal kick to Denmark, away to our right. So England against China in the final game of the group stages for England next Tuesday. That's live on Talksport 2 from midday, and England will progress to the round of 16 if they keep this lead against Denmark and China fail to beat Haiti later on. That's a midday kickoff. There'll be updates on Talksport. We've just seen a replay on our monitor, Leanne, from a couple of different angles of that Lauren James opening goal in the commentary position. It was typical Lauren James. It was sensational.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant, and getting into those areas, Courtney made a really good point with regards to coming in off the left-hand side and Rachel Daly being able to get forward. And I think that's exactly what needs to happen. Lauren James just needs to be Lauren James. Let her do what she wants. She's also really good on the other end of the play as well with defending. You know, a lot of people have said, sometimes she looks very nonchalant. Some players are different. You know, you don't always have to be running around the field of play to look like you're doing something. And I think Lauren James has the ability that the game seems to be in slow motion when she has the ball at her feet. No one can get the ball from her. And as you can tell, Joe, we're big fans of her, aren't we? We speak about a lot of her in the WSL as well.
And she can only get better. There is a swagger about her, as you say, Leanne, and she's worked hard on her fitness and her movement, and that has got a heck of a lot better over the last season at Chelsea, and still only 21 years of age. She has her first major tournament goal on her first major tournament start, and England are in charge. And I think the one thing that Serena Wiegmann will want to see is that England don't let up here.
Absolutely, and I think she'll be happy with how the first 20 minutes has gone. The players look sharp, even when the Danes are not really going towards the English players to even retrieve the ball. They haven't had any type of passing put together. I think they'll be quite disappointed, but I think it's been based upon how good England have been.
Here is Anatoon for England, flicks the ball from right to left from the edge of the D to find James. Corner of the penalty area, James driving forward, another right-footed curler, and this one straight down the throat to the goalkeeper this time.
Yeah, good play again from Lauren James. Ella Toon did very well there, finds her on the left-hand side. As soon as Lauren James picks up this ball, there's only one place she's going, cuts in, and it's not the greatest of attempts in the end, but a good play again, getting down that left-hand side. And this game looks like it's really set up for Lauren James to get a lot of the ball. We've not seen Chloe Kelly on the ball at all in this game so far.
Here comes Stanway for England, 30 yards out right of centre as we look at it, wide to the near side, and Kelly with the orange boots on. Chloe Kelly, who scored the winner in the Euros final last summer. Lucy Bronze for the first time, right-footed cross, in goes Lauren James, and it's gathered in the 6-yard box by Lena Christensen, and the chances are starting to rack up for England, and once again England's number 7, Lauren James, at the heart of it.
Brilliant ball from Lucy Bronze, absolutely brilliant. I think it took a touch off the Danish player in the end, because I think Lauren James, had she had a clear run on goal, would have probably put that in the back of the net. It looked like it potentially took a bit of a deflection and a touch to just take it away, but a fantastic ball in from Lucy Bronze. And I was saying, you know, Joe, down this right-hand side, they haven't really been getting the ball out to Chloe Kelly at all, but they haven't had to. The left-hand side is where they're getting a lot of joy in Rachel Daly and Lauren James, and Ella Toon's picking up the balls in those areas in between the lines as well.
Well, today's game isn't the only live football today on the Talksport network. From 1 till 4 on Hawksby and Jacobs, you can hear the Talksport Trophy, a five-a-side match of epic proportions between Team Breakfast and the Talksport All-Stars. England on the attack again. The Lionesses with Toon, edge of the box, spins, turns and shoots, and that is gathered easily by the goalkeeper Christensen. At about chest height, a floated shot from Toon, but a decent spin and turn in the build-up from the Manchester United player.
Yeah, and those areas that Ella Toon's picking up the ball, that's exactly where Sarina Wiegman will want her. I like that creativity, not the greatest of attempts in the end, but exactly where you want her picking up the ball, in and around the 18-yard box, in between the lines, being able to receive it, because we just didn't see that against Haiti. I thought our midfield were non-existent in that game, and in this game, they're getting on the ball early, having a lot of confidence.
James has managed to whip it off the feet of Yanni Thompson, who was looking to dart forward just inside England territory. Denmark have lost the ball. Denmark coached by Lars Sondergaard, who replaced Niels Nielsen, who was the man who led Denmark to the final of the Euros in 2017, where they were beaten by Sarina Wiegman's Netherlands. She has a fearsome record at major tournaments, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah, she does, and it's not a coincidence, winning back-to-back European Championships with two separate countries. It's just amazing, and you can see the amount of difference she's made on this team since she became the coach. Only one defeat.
The ball fed long up the inside right channel by Kelly, chasing with Stanway, but it's authoritative defending by Boy, coming across to sweep it clear left-footed, and the touch, actually the last touch, was off Madsen of Norway, who has previously played in Australia on loan with Melbourne Victory. Denmark struggling though here in Sydney, struggling to cope against a much more impressive England side. They've probably played much better football in the first 23 minutes here than they did in the whole of the 90 against Haiti, where they were quite leaden-footed and one pace in the build-up, struggled to create, and actually looked sloppy at the back. It is given away here by Daly though, and Denmark looking to counter and trying to create something for the first time in the game with Yanni Thompson, far side there right, taking on Daly, corner of the penalty area. Thompson's played it to the feet of Harder. Harder spins and turns. The shot is just wide by Madsen at the near post. Electric quick feet from Rika Marie Madsen. Mary Earps was scrambling. I'm not sure if the England goalkeeper got a touch, but that is the first warning of the game for the Lionesses. Too much time and space for Madsen to turn. Greenwood didn't get tight enough, and Madsen should have hit the target.
What a turn that was from Madsen. She created that out of nothing, like a double pivot, and came away with the ball. Mary Earps, I don't think had it covered in the end. I was waiting for the net to ripple, to be honest, and I think that shows you exactly what I was saying about you can't switch off with this Danish team. You cannot. I think England have had a really comfortable start to this game, but Madsen created that out of nothing. Great turn, great strike, and nearly went in.
England 1, Denmark 0 in the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 on Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software Dream Bigger. We're in the 25th minute. It's taken Denmark 25 minutes to carve out a chance, but Madsen, having done some tremendous work in the build-up, couldn't quite find the target, with even Mary Earps, England's #1, beat.
To be fair, in that situation as well, I thought Alex Greenwood could have gone a bit tighter, but I actually think it was just really good creativity from Madsen.
Great ball by Walsh up the left wing to find Daly. Daly hugging the touchline, right-footed in, swinging cross, headed away by Boy. Good header that from the edge of the 6-yard box. It was a difficult clearing header for the defender, with Russo in close attention. In the end, into touch for an England throw about 5 yards from the corner flag on the near side, the England right. And quite a few scarves and woolly hats on show in the crowd. It's not particularly cold, it's relatively mild for the Australian winter, about 17 degrees, but yeah, it's not the summer in Australia in July, that's for sure. And Denmark looking to get on the break. Intelligent ball played up the middle. There might be a chance here for Thompson, who's got good pace. She got there in front of Greenwood and Daly. Right-handed to the penalty area, right-footed shot, and it sails over the top. And a little bit of vulnerability on the break for England again. 1-0 they lead them.
Yeah, you can see the Danish team was starting to creep back into it. The momentum was clearly with England, but it goes to show you when Thompson picked up the ball there, not the greatest of efforts in the end, but England need to stay switched on, stay concentrated, because the Danes have now had two opportunities in the last 5 minutes that could have caused England a lot of problems. Other than that, England have looked comfortable. It's been a really good performance so far. You can see Millie Bright just looks more comfortable next to Alex Greenwood on the left-hand side as well.
Greenwood has escaped the attempted tackle of Pernilla Harder, and now Russo dropping back into her own territory and feeding it all the way back to Earps, away to our left. Earps, who is all in bright yellow. Crossfield ball punted high by Bright. Excellent ball to find James, who took it in her stride beautifully. Elegant piece of control by James, who can float forward effervescently with such ease. Takes on Saveka down by the corner flag. It goes to Stanway. Now Daly. Daly with the blonde hair and the lime green boots, poked forward by Walsh. Lovely little flick. Turned around the corner by Toon to find James. James at walking pace controls in front of the defender Thompson, and James driving infield towards the edge of the Denmark penalty area. Held up. Denmark had almost everybody behind the ball in red there. England have held on to it. Angled to the left by Stanway to find Daly, and England do look threatening every time they come forward. James has made a good run on the underlap away from Toon, whips in the cross high to the far post. It's gone above everybody. Lucy Bronze is there at the back stick to try and pull it back across goal, but she couldn't find a teammate, and Denmark now breaking with Holmgaard on the counter. Plays it to the left and Harder. Nobody in the penalty area for Denmark, but Harder's looking dangerous. Marauding forward, gets away from Millie Bright, shoots low right-footed, gathered by Earps. Millie Bright, who knows just how tough Pernilla Harder can be. They used to play together at Chelsea, and she did back off the Denmark captain. Harder's shot relatively easy for her.
Yeah, really good break from a home guard there that plays the ball out to left-hand side to Pernilla Harder. I actually thought Pernilla Harder should have gone across goal. I was waiting for her to go out and put it in the top corner. We know the quality that she has, but again, it shows glimpses of how good this Danish team can be on the counter. Just better execution when they're hitting it on goal, but they are getting a lot of joy in the centre and playing it out to the left-hand side as well. So England need to make sure they take care of that.
Well, Leanne, you did remind us just a couple of moments ago that Denmark, of course, are going to have moments in the game. And they have shown, I think, in these last couple of minutes that they can be dangerous, and a lot of pace in the attack either side of Harder as well.
But it's going to be harder. I mean, the England's fitness levels are incredible, but it'll be difficult for England to keep that type of pace all the way throughout the game. So the momentum will chop and change at times. You can see England still look like they're in control, but there's been 3 opportunities in the last 5 minutes that Denmark have had that could have caused England a lot of problems.
Free kick given by the referee Tess Olofsson from Sweden. A free kick to England inside the centre circle here in Sydney on a mild evening where England have impressed in the first 29 minutes. Ticking towards the half-hour mark. England 1, Denmark 0 is the latest score. England have won 11 of their last 14 matches in the World Cup. Maybe even more significantly, England's last competitive defeat in any competition, the 2019 World Cup third place playoffs. So 4 years since England last lost a competitive game. Chloe Kelly down by the corner flag, wins a corner off Katrine Veil.
Chloe Kelly did very well then to keep the ball in play, showed great bite, great pace to keep it in play, and now it's gone out for a corner.
England will load the penalty area with those white shirts. England playing from left to right in the first half. Goalkeeper Christensen just wincing, knows that she might have some work to do here. The Denmark number 1 all in green. Denmark have brought virtually everybody back. England, actually, when you look at the height difference between the two sides, I think England do have a slight height advantage. Chloe Kelly, 2 arms up into the air, floats in the corner deep towards Lucy Bronze at the far post. A looping header onto the roof of the net. And Lucy Bronze, as we saw, can be such a potent goal-scoring threat. We saw that at the Euros. We've seen it over her career, just peel away as she likes to do to the back post. Not sure the goalkeeper would have got there had it been on target, Leanne.
No, great effort from Lucy Bronze. Fantastic ball into the box from Chloe Kelly, and I think Lucy Bronze usually looks like she is the target, and I'd expect her to usually 9 times out of 10 head it back across goal, but that was a really good effort from Lucy Bronze, and Christensen didn't know where that was going at all, didn't have it covered.
Lucy Bronze, who, if she scores at the World Cup, will be only the 4th England player to score at 3 World Cup finals, behind Farrah Williams, Jill Scott, and on the men's side, David Beckham.
Not a bad club to be in. I remember one of the goals she scored in the 2015 World Cup when we beat Norway, and it was an absolute peach, top corner. You know, we won that game. I went into the semi-final against Japan. We won't talk about that one though.
No, we'll leave that.
we'll leave that one out of it.
Consign it to 2015 again. Leanne Sanderson, former Lioness, with us for Coventry once more. Long, deep free kick into the England box from Denmark. It was Veer punting it forward from the halfway line. The former Arsenal and now Everton left-back, part of the Arsenal title-winning team in the WSL in 2018-19, but there was too much on that, and it's out of play for a goal kick to England, and the Denmark head coach Lars Sondergaard sitting in his technical area with a slightly worried look on his face. England lead 1-0, but it is only 1-0 and a slender advantage at that. The game could change at any time.
I don't know how I feel as well about Pernille Harder being that kind of number 9 all the way up front. She's kind of isolated on her own. I think Pernille Harder will start to see her drop a bit deeper to try and get on the ball.
That's where she was effective for Chelsea when she could play last season. Russo infield to James, similar position to the goal, trying to thread it into the penalty area towards Toon, well covered by Josephine Hasbo, who swept it clear, and it's an England throw midway inside Denmark territory, far side the Lionesses left.
With Pernille Harder in that position as well, she has to wait for the service, whereas I like Pernille Harder when she's picking up the ball in those pockets in between the lines where she can really impact the play, because right now she's having to sit higher, chase everything down.
And England have won it back again. It's James again, 6 yards from the corner of the penalty area. James's goal separates the two teams. England, who needed that win over Haiti, all sorts of reasons, of course, most important to get off the mark with a victory in the group stages, but for a bit of confidence as well. England, who had gone 3 matches without a win in the build-up prior to that, if you include the behind closed doors friendly against Canada.
Millie Bright certainly looks so much better in this game.
As it's floated forward by England to the far post, Lucy Bronze trying to come in, and it's knocked behind by Katrine Veer. Last touch was off Bronze, and Denmark get a goal kick.
I'm loving this so far, Joe. That's a great switch ball from Rachel Daly from left to right. Lucy Bronze almost got in on the back post, but I'm loving. I think England are mixing it up today. I don't think they're just trying to find Alessia Russo checking to feet. I think they're being dynamic. There's runs, there's movement. Lucy Bronze is having that willingness to get forward, and I don't think we saw that in the game the other day. I don't think Millie Bright and Jess Carter, I said it during commentary, it didn't work, and Serena Wigman has changed it, and now you can see the confidence is there. Lucy Bronze is getting up and down, Rachel Daly is getting up and down, and I just think it's incredible that Rachel Daly can slot back into that left back position effortlessly. To go from being a number 9, I'm not sure I could do that, if I'm being honest.
Tells you all about her versatility, doesn't it?
Yeah, I fancy myself as one of the top player, but I don't think I can slot back into that left back position.
Have you played at left back before?
No, I don't think anyone needs to see that.
Well, it tells you all about her selflessness as well, doesn't it? Willingness to be a team player. She was effective in that position at the Euros, but actually she's out of position here, and Kira Walsh had to make a good interception on the stretch. And is she hurt here, Kira Walsh? She's gone down midway inside her own half of the field. She had to really stretch to intercept a crossfield pass. Near enough straight away she went down, and she shakes her head, Kira Walsh, and I wonder whether she might be in a little bit of trouble here, Leanne.
Yeah, it's not the ones you like to see. She signalled straight away as if she knew to the referee, and she's just signalled to the doctor and the physio that she seems to be done.
Well, that could be a massive blow for England. Kira Walsh makes this team tick. Absolutely one of the first names on the team sheet, maybe just about the first name on the team sheet for England, and she looks in a bit of discomfort and she looks upset here, Kira Walsh. She looks like she might be on the verge of tears. It was a stretch. Is this a muscle injury, Leanne? Could it be a knee injury? It looked like she did hold on to the right knee at one point, but stretching to make an interception, and one of England's key players is going to have to come off here, and that's a big blow for them. We can only hope that it isn't an injury that impacts across the World Cup for Kira Walsh. We can only hope that it will heal pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I think, Joe, I mean, we don't want to speculate obviously with regards to injuries because we don't know right now, but it didn't look good. She almost knew, you know, as a player when something happens, usually 9 times out of 10, and Kira Walsh doesn't usually go down and stay down, so it's not the things you like to see. From a player's perspective, it's like you don't want to think here we go again, because there's so many players during this World Cup missing based upon that injury, and it's not good to see.
Well, this is really difficult for Kira Walsh. The stretch has now been called. Let's go to our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, who's watching on with us on Talksport 2. A really worrying moment this for England and for Kira Walsh, Courtney.
Yeah, it's really not looking good, Joe. It's happened right in front of me, and what happened is when she slid to stretch for that ball, I think she's got caught in the turf, her studs, and then jolted her knee. I hope I'm wrong, but the first thing she did, the players ran up to her. She was telling them actually to go away, Very disappointed. She's on the stretcher now, and I think straight away as well she sort of signalled that sort of get me off, I can't carry on. She's being taken off on the stretcher now to rapturous applause, but she's in tears. She's put a shirt and her hands over her head, and I really hope that isn't her tournament over, but it really doesn't look good.
Kira Walsh leaves the field on a stretcher. As Courtney said, she covers her face with her shirt, tears in her eyes, getting little pats on the back from her England teammates, but Kira Walsh at the moment is inconsolable, and it's a desperate moment for her, and it could be a massive blow for England's World Cup hopes if Kira Walsh is to potentially struggle to come back anytime soon in this World Cup. Of course, we don't know the extent of the injury, and we won't speculate on that, but when a player is stretchered off and Walsh is replaced by Laura Coombs, you played the game at the highest level, Leanne Sanderson. Just how worrying is the potential prognosis of this injury for England?
Yeah, it doesn't look good at all. We can't speculate because we don't know yet, but it doesn't look good, and it just pains me, Joe, because it's the same old story, and I feel like, you know, we can talk about it after, but it just seems like we're just losing too many players to these types of injuries consistently, and more needs to be done. I think there's about 30 players that are missing from this tournament overall with regards to the ACL injury. That can't be right. You know, there more needs to be done for sure, but hopefully it's not that with Kira Walsh. But she's not the type of player that goes down and stays down, and, you know, stretch it off. It's not something you like to see. I'm surprised Jordan Nobbs hasn't come in instead of Coombs as well. I'm surprised Jordan Nobbs wouldn't have been that player, especially with all the experience that Jordan Nobbs has got at major tournaments as well. She's missed out through an injury a lot of times in tournaments. She missed out in 2015 with a hamstring injury, another injury with a knee injury in the next tournament as well. So I'm surprised they didn't bring her on.
England 1, Denmark 0, 38.5 minutes played. It seemed to go dark in Sydney just for a moment then, but the floodlights are all working fine. And, well, whatever happens, I think, whether England win or not, and of course their passage to the last 16 can be confirmed today with a victory, and if China fail to beat Haiti later, the injury to Kira Walsh will be a major talking point. One door closes, I suppose, one opens maybe for Laura Coombs, her first appearance at a major tournament, but we all know how important Kira Walsh was at the Euros, and we can only hope that the injury isn't as bad as it looked. When a player's stretchered off, you tend to feel the worst, especially at a major tournament when games come thick and fast. Anyway, we'll see. Play is obviously back underway. Denmark looking to make headway down their right, the England left, out of play for an England throw in the left-back position, Leanne.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously going to be something that will be in the back of the players' minds when they get to half-time. They'll be thinking about Kira Walsh, because you do, from a player's perspective, and it's just incredible, really, Joe, how we have so many of our best players out with injuries. I mean, you need a little bit of luck sometimes. I think England had a lot of luck in the Euros last year when Pop got injured in the warm-up. You know, she did the team picture and then ended up coming out of the lineup, and I'm not saying that's the reason why England won, but she's on the field of play, things change. You know, the same as Alexia Putellas with Spain. When she was out injured, England beat Spain. These things can happen. So on the flip side, England just need a little bit of luck sometimes as well, and I think you make your own luck in football, but the fact that we've got Leah Williamson, Beth Mead, Frank Kirby out with injuries, and now Kira Walsh, it's not good at all.
No Leah Williamson, no Beth Mead, no Frank Kirby, as you say, coming into the tournament, and now potentially another injury headache for Serena Wiegman. And it did look, we heard from Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England reporter, like she stretched and then caught her knee. Anyway, more on that at half-time. It's Denmark with an opportunity, and it's Harder sweeping it wide. A poor effort from just inside the England penalty area. The angle was against her, but she swung at it and didn't really make any contact. It was very tame, and actually so little on that it didn't go out of play. Bronze was able to keep the ball in before it even went out for a goal kick. And England have just got to make sure that they don't allow the injury to affect them too much. It looks like Denmark really, since that injury, have had the majority possession, and England, I think, would just like to get to half-time with the score at 1-0. Yeah,
I'm actually surprised that Pernilla Harder snatched at that. I thought that she probably didn't realise exactly where she was in the box, because she could have taken a touch. You saw Cole was running off, and Thompson as well was running off, and she could have probably picked that moment.
England on the break now with Ella Toon poking it up the left-hand side, but under pressure from Holmgren, and the defender Saveka is there to roll it back to goalkeeper Christensen, whose clearance hangs high in the evening sky. It's 7:15 local time in Australia, and Daly has caught Harder there, swinging the ball with her right foot, and the ball straight into the face of the Denmark player, and it's a Stanway rather who swung at it. It was a risky challenge from Stanway and a nasty ball to the face for Harder.
Yeah, that didn't look good at all. It wasn't a foul. I mean, Georgia Stanway's put her foot up and hit the ball into her face, but I think Pernilla Harder took that very well because it didn't look good at all.
England 1, Denmark 0 on Talksport 2. It remains, but England have lost Kira Walsh to injury. And Kira Walsh, I've absolutely got no doubt, would have been up there in the thinking for Sarina Wiegman in terms of the captain's armband for this tournament. In the end, it went to Millie Bright. I'm sure Lucy Bronze would have been in the conversation, and Alex Greenwood maybe too. That's a foul on Walsh's replacement, Laura Coombs of Manchester City, just her 6th England cap, and a free kick to England midway inside the Denmark half with 2.5 minutes of normal time remaining at the end of the first half.
Yeah, it's a big opportunity for Laura Coombs. Like I said, I'd have expected maybe Jordan Nobbs to have come on instead of her, but she's done okay for Manchester City in this last season and deserves to be out there. In tournament football, anything can happen. You could be called upon at any given time. I'm sure as a bench player, as a sub, you don't expect to come on in the first half. You hope you don't, to a certain degree, because usually it's due to an injury. We've seen in modern day football, coaches do make tactical substitutions. We've seen in the men's game, Chelsea have done it this year, 30 minutes into the game. So, but other than that, usually it's to do with an injury, why a player comes out. And as a sub, you're not really ready to go in. They do say to always be ready, and you are.
Yep.
But Laura Coombs wouldn't have had a chance to warm up, and she's only had a few touches on the ball. And to be fair, she looks up to the speed of play already. She's getting touches, but obviously Kira Walsh is going to be a big loss, and whoever comes in, it's big boots to fill.
Well, that injury has taken a bit of the sting and the rhythm out of the game. Pace a little slower from an England perspective, but here is James trying to inject some energy back into it. She's midway inside the Denmark half, a square ball to Coombs with the long sleeve white shirt on, and now Kelly, good step over to get away from Veer. That's a deep ball high towards Russo at the back post, but it's over her head, and Rika Saveka will hack it clear for Denmark, high towards the halfway line. Daly retreating, facing her own goal, goes down on halfway and wins a free kick, shoving the back from Thompson. And England have got a minute of normal time to see out, but of course, just like at the World Cup in Qatar, lengthy periods of stoppage time at the end of both halves, and I think we'll see quite a bit of stoppage time in the first half here, Leah.
Yeah, we've seen a lot, especially yesterday, Australia, New Zealand, at the end of the first half, or the second half was 11 minutes added on. Like, that's a lot. But you mentioned it, Joe, we saw it in Qatar, and hopefully as the tournament goes on, we'll start to see less and less, because we want the ball in play longer than it's out of play. But I think you're right, Joe, England certainly lost their momentum a little bit after that injury, and they need to take the sting out of the game a little bit. You can't keep that same level the whole game. It'd be a great game if you could do that, but the fitness levels are there, but the sharpness throughout the whole half has definitely been there, and I've been quite underwhelmed with this Danish team. I don't think they've been anywhere near their best, but they've still created.
Denmark, who started their group campaign with a win, but they trail England by a goal to nil here. Madsen whips in a high right-footed cross for them, deep to the far post, and that's a poor challenge by Harder, jumping all over the back of Rachel Daly. And now Daly's gone down holding her head, and a free kick to England on the edge of their own box. We're into 4 minutes of added time at the end of the first half, and England 1, Denmark 0 the score. And I think for England fans all around the stadium there are mixed feelings. I wonder if we can check in with Courtney Sweetman-Kirk again, our England reporter. Courtney, it's been a first half of mixed emotions for England and Sarina Wiegman, I think.
Yeah, it has. I think they started extremely well that first 20-25 minutes. Obviously the goal, and they kept pushing. I think then, Denmark did start to get a little bit of impetus, then a couple of chances on the counter-attack as well, and they were just starting to turn the screw just before, unfortunately, Kira Walsh had to come off the pitch, and I think that momentum's almost stayed with Denmark a little bit. And as Leanne was saying in commentary, it is, you think about, as a teammate, you think about that player that's gone off, you're very worried, but also they've got a job to do on the pitch. So I think England now, that the main thing is getting at half-time, still in the lead, and then they can get back in the changing rooms and regroup. And as I say, in terms of the stadium as well, I must admit the atmosphere does feel a little bit flatter now as well.
Yeah, understandable. Thanks very much indeed, Courtney. I've just seen an England flag That cross of St George furled in the crowd, but it's not quite as feverish atmosphere-wise as it was in the first 15 minutes, where England had got that early goal after just 6 minutes through Lauren James and were really dominating. Here they come with Kelly. Minute and 30 into 4 added at the end of the first half. Lucy Bronze crosses in low and it's cut out with relative ease on the edge of her own 6-yard box by the defender Boy. And now it's collected by Madsen midway inside her own half, and she's having to backtrack towards her own goal. Neat step over from Madsen, who has missed Denmark's best opportunity of the first half to this point. High ball downfield, it's bouncing up towards Thompson. The header away by Alex Greenwood for England. Not entirely convincing, and Stanway having to track back to help out. In the end, she was fouled by a sort of combination of Thompson and Hasbo, and a free kick to England just shy of the halfway line. Despite the injury, there have been positives for England. It's been much better, Leanne, hasn't it?
Yeah, so much better. I think individually you can see the players look a bit sharper. You know, Serena Bigman's obviously communicated. The players, you know when the game hasn't been good enough. You know as a player when you haven't had your best game. And this game today has been night and day from the Haiti game. The players individually have been good. Millie Bright, after getting her first 90 minutes out the way in 3 months or so, looked really good today alongside Alex Greenwood. I think they look more confident as a pairing.
Every England game of the Women's World Cup will be live on the network. Nutmeg from Stanway on Cool, and then she plays it wide to the near side and Bronze. Back in field to Georgia Stanway, England's number 8. Wide towards the left and James, and it was poorly executed, the pass really from Stanway, misdirected. James, I think even if she'd really busted a gut, wouldn't have been able to get there. A Denmark throw in the right back position. Serena Bigman with quite a lot to ponder here, sitting inside her technical area on the near side touchline as we look at it from our commentary position. There have been highs and there have been lows so far on match day 2. Headed by Daly towards the edge of the Denmark box. Russo back to goal, finds James. James very calmly plucks the ball out of the air, and England content to keep possession. There are only 25 seconds of normal time left at the end of the first half, where there have been 2 major talking points. England on the attack with Bronze, number 2, near side the right. Gets it back from Laura Coombs, who, as she said, Leanne, has looked very neat and tidy since coming on. And that's a trip by Veer on Kelly, and a free kick to England by the corner flag. They might just have enough time to take it.
Yeah, great opportunity for England to put one into the box. I think Lucy Bronze has had an exceptional first half. I think she's been brilliant. Her and Chloe Kelly down this right-hand side in the last 10-15 minutes, I think, have come into themselves. First 30 minutes or so, it was all left-hand side, wasn't it, with Lauren James getting down there and Rachel Daly overlapping. But I think now it's kind of come down this right-hand side a lot more, on a free kick in a really good area.
Chloe Kelly is standing over it. Bright and Daly among those lurking in the middle. Russo and Bronze are there too. Floated high by Daly to the far post, and it's over the head of Lucy Bronze. It'll trickle out of play. All eyes on the referee from Sweden, Tess Olofsson. Still the half-time whistle doesn't blow. We have played well in excess of the 4 minutes added. 4 minutes and 45 seconds now. Denmark have it with Harder, middle of her own half. Back it goes to the right back, Saveka. That's a poor clearance, seized upon by Russo. Russo down by the corner flag, not really with a great deal of space to move into. Tries to jink away from Balesaga, the centre half, and Balesaga knocks it out to play, and that is half-time. And a first half which has brought, I think, decidedly mixed emotions for England. Here are the positives: a much better display than we saw in the shaky win on match day 1 over Haiti. A wonderful opening goal to separate the teams from Lauren James, as England's mini drought in open play came to a spectacular end. James 25 yards out and just curled the ball into the corner for a wonderful opener that has given England a half-time lead. But they have a half-time lead without Kira Walsh, who, stretching to make an interception, looked like she might have injured her knee. She had to be stretchered off in tears. Where that leaves her World Cup, it remains to be seen. But as it stands, England heading for the victory that would put them on the brink of qualification for the round of 16. Half-time at the Women's World Cup in Sydney. England 1, Denmark 0.
England players heading back into the tunnel, no doubt, to go and check on their teammate Kira Walsh and see how she is. Leanne Sanderson, let's focus on the positives first, because it does feel as if the mood dropped instantly when Keira Walsh was stretchered off. But let's talk about the positives at the beginning of the game. We said she could have a standout tournament and we wanted her to start, and Lauren James took just 6 minutes to make her impact.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. And I've always said, just let her play. Let her football do the talking, and she deserves this start. We were calling for it the other day, wasn't we, Faye? And she got off to a flying start. 6 minutes in, fantastic strike, really good goal, and I think she's had a really good game so far. But overall, I think England have looked really good, really sharp. All the players today just seem to be on it, and I think that backline change has really brought them all alive, really. I mean, Millie Bright, the other day, first game in 2-3 months, out with that injury. Today she's pinging balls out to the left, pinging balls out to the right, looks really comfortable alongside Alex Greenwood and Rachel Daly. I mentioned it during commentary, Faye, the fact that you can play in the 9 and you've got the number 9 on the back of your shirt and you're playing left back and you can do a job like she's done, absolutely brilliant, really good. And I think midfield looked better today. I think overall we just look better. The only thing I will say is Alessia Russo, I don't think she's been able to impact the games in any way, and I don't really think it's her fault. I'm not quite sure how or why. I don't think Ella Toon is really getting on the ball enough underneath her, and we know last year in the Euros they brought them both on and they're able to have that impact. When you come on as an impact player, you kind of have a free role to do whatever you want, really, because the pressure isn't really there. You come on, if you score a goal, great. If you set one up, even better. But I just think with these types of roles and responsibilities now that have changed, because obviously Ellen White's retired and Alessia Russo is now starting, I think we need a little bit more from Alessia Russo being able to impact the opposition goal.
I agree, but I also don't feel as if the balls in the box are coming in for her.
Yeah.
People are actually going for goal themselves, or they're using the wingers to impact the game, because Ella Toon had a fantastic chance herself. She could have just chipped the ball into Alessia Russo and chose to go for goal, and it was a soft effort.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, actually. I think when Rachel Daly came in the game the other day, it was almost like Lucy Bronze then started to deliver balls in, but they play differently, obviously, with different centre forwards. They have different roles and different attributes that they're good at, but I just think she just needs to impact the game a little bit more, because obviously the longer the tournament goes on, if you're not getting on the score sheet as well, then I think hopefully we'll see Beth England come into this game at some point as well, because I think she could be really good for England. I think all the talk's obviously about Rachel Daly and Alessia Russo, which I completely understand, but Beth England had a really good season in the WSL.
But I also think Serena Wiegmann just doesn't seem to want to play her and didn't select her for such a long time. The darkened clouds were Keira Walsh being taken off on a stretcher. She looked like she got her studs caught in the turf. As you and Joe said in commentary, really important we don't speculate on what that injury could be, but the concern when, those 3 little letters that seem to be plaguing the game at the moment, A, C and L, that is what everybody instantly thinks when you see a player taken off in tears, holding her knee and saying, I've done my knee.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I'm watching it, it makes you feel a bit sick to your stomach, Faye, because we just continuously see this type of thing happening, and I just don't want us to become desensitised in the women's game to these types of injuries, because it's like, oh, here we go again, another injury, nothing's being done about it. So we can talk about research till next year, but more needs to be done now, without speculating about Keira Walsh. Regards to that, when you see a player getting taken off on a stretcher, regardless of whether it's her knee or not, it doesn't look like she's going to be able to play for the rest of the tournament, because whenever do you see a player getting taken off and they get to play in the next game, it doesn't work like that. So hopefully she's going to be okay, but again, we're seeing so many players during this tournament miss out due to injury, and injuries are part of playing, they are, but if this was happening in the men's game, Faye, best believe more would be done already.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Fingers crossed we're going to get some positive news coming out of the England dressing room about Keira Walsh. Didn't look good though. England 1-0 up against Denmark at the break. Worrying signs though with their midfield maestro stretchered off. More analysis followed by second half action coming up next here on World Cup Live on Talksport 2.
No worries, mate. We got the Women's World Cup covered.
What a turn, what a goal!
The FIFA Women's World Cup
Live
on Talksport 2.
This is World Cup Game Day Live on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers. We're your home of the Women's World Cup. Every single game covered here across the network. England 1-0 to the good in their second Group D match against Denmark. That's the good news. The bad news, though, is midfielder Keira Walsh was stretchered off 35 minutes in, a key player for the Lionesses, and a real worry going forward in the tournament. A reminder for the live sport this weekend before we carry on our half-time analysis. This weekend, the Rugby Summer Nations Series series gets underway. First up, Scotland, Italy this Saturday afternoon. That'll be live on Talksport as part of the Saturday session with Sam Matterface. Next weekend, England will take on Wales live on Talksport 2. Couldn't be easier to listen to Talksport and Talksport 2 on DAB radio or for free by downloading our app. Right, in Sydney, currently England 1-0 up against Denmark in their second Group D game. World Cup bronze medalist Leanne Sanderson is watching. The mood really dropped in the stadium when Keira Walsh was taken off. What are the Lionesses going to have to do psychologically to get themselves back into this game and play the kind of football that we saw in the opening 25-30 minutes?
Well, obviously, ultimately, probably seeing Keira Walsh at half-time, a lot of the players would have probably gone in to see if she's okay. And then when you see a teammate there, it rests your mind ashore to a certain degree, because right now a lot of the injury is due to speculation. But I think, they have to go back to what they did in the first 20-25 minutes. I thought England were exceptional. Similar to the Netherlands, against the US Women's National Team, I thought that they were also exceptional, controlling the tempo, controlling the game. Denmark couldn't get anywhere near England. Couldn't get the ball from them, could they? So I think it was a really good performance so far. I said I was surprised that Laura Coombs came into the game. I was surprised Jordan Nobbs didn't come on in that position, but I think Laura Coombs has come in and done a relatively good job to come into a game like this when you're least expecting it. You know as a sub you might come on, but usually you start to think, well, maybe you might get some minutes in this game or that game. But to come on in the first half under those circumstances, it takes a lot of resilience and mentality to be able to do that. And I think Laura Coombs has done an okay job so far. But the players need to just find a way, dig a bit deeper. And hopefully, Keira Walsh is going to be okay, and they've done really well today though, Faye. I'm really happy with the way they've responded from that Haiti performance.
Yeah, I jumped up and punched the air when Lauren James scored that absolute screamer on the edge of the area. So did Serena Wiegmann as well, and we don't see that much emotion from the England boss, do we? And she was absolutely delighted and clearly relieved as well. But actually, there is a little bit of vulnerability for England, particularly on the break. We saw Denmark get through on a couple of occasions. Rika Marie Madsen had a little bit too much space on the edge of the area. Great turn and shot across goal, and then Thompson had a shot as well. They can't afford to switch off.
No, they can't, and it's hard to tell why these chances are being created, because I think England have looked really set up really well today in the back line. They look really comfortable, but there's always going to be chances where other teams are going to create, but it's how you nullify those. That Madsen, I thought, has had a decent game when she had the ball. From Holmgaard, when she's carrying the ball from that midfield, it's causing a lot of problems as well. I don't think Calder's got on the ball enough. And Pernilla Harder, I said it during the commentary, Faye, I don't really like it when she's all the way out front on her own. I think she's not able to impact the game because they're not finding her the ball. So if you're Pernilla Harder, she's having to chase back. Millie Bright and Alex Greenwood doing a lot of defensive work, wasting a lot of energy, and she's not really getting a lot of the ball. Having said that, she had that one opportunity that she kind of snatched at. But other than that, they haven't really created anything for her.
No, Pernilla Harder herself has said that she prefers to be in the deeper 10-lying role than up front, isolated in the 9 as the players make their way out for the second half. And so, she could potentially, like she did against China, drop back into that role, which is what Lars Sundgren, the Denmark head coach, did with her first and foremost. Doesn't look like there are any changes for the Lionesses. We'll check on that with Jo Shannon, and we need more of the same. The link up down the left-hand side in particular between Rachel Daly and Lauren James was a delight to watch, wasn't it? Let's see what England can do in this second half as they huddle together, knowing how important this next 45 minutes is for them to continue in the tournament and make it through to the last 16. You'll find out everything of the next 45 minutes and every ball going in the company of your commentary team of Leanne Sanderson and Jo Shannon.
Thank you, Faye. No changes for England at half-time, though there is an impromptu huddle before the second half. All 11 England players are in the midst of that. And we are about to get back underway live in Sydney, England's second group game of the World Cup. And a reminder, they will reach the round of 16 if they win and China fail to beat Haiti a little bit later on. England, whose base for the World Cup isn't too far from here, Terrigal Beach, 90 minutes up the coast from Sydney. They moved here after the Haiti victory. They will stay here for the entire duration of their World Cup journey. Every England game live across the Talksport network, and we are ready to get back underway at the Sydney Football Stadium, which is sold out tonight. Floodlights very much on. It's now gone 7:30 local time on the east coast of Australia, and England from right to left in the white shirts, blue shorts and white socks, and Denmark all in red from left to right. Alessia Russo gets the game back underway. England lead by 1-0, but of course they are without Keira Walsh, who was stretching off injured in that first half. We wish her all the best in her recovery, and we hope it's not a long-term injury. We will see. England have Mary Earps then in goal, with Bronze, Bright, Greenwood and Daly the back four. Coombs on in place of Walsh alongside Stanway and Toon in midfield. Lauren James, whose brilliant goal separates the two. Kelly and Russo up front, and it's Kelly's cross in towards the near post in the first few seconds of the second half, and it's knocked behind by the Denmark defender Simone Boy. For an England corner, lots of England flags and lots of England fans all around the stadium. Denmark, Christensen in goal, Saveka, Balesaga, Boy and Veer the defenders. Holmgaard, Kuhl and Hasbo in midfield. Thompson, Madsen and Harder up front. Chloe Kelly will take the England corner. It'll be right-footed out swinging. Two arms up into the air from Kelly. It's drilled in high towards the edge of the six-yard box. Lucy Bronze to the far post, hacked away by Hasbo, and then sliced behind by Balesaga for a second corner in quick succession for England. Here's Leanne Sanderson.
Great ball from Chloe Kelly, nice drive into the box. Lucy Bronze always finds herself on the end of it because she's so tenacious and has that willingness. Alessia Russo went up for the initial header, and now we see another corner and Alex Greenwood's about to take it.
England's final Group D game is on Tuesday. It'll be live on Talksport 2. Greenwood drills the ball high to the back post, and Bronze is there again, and Ella Toon lashes at it. Didn't quite get enough power or contact behind that. Left-footed, sent it skywards and over the bar. Lucy Bronze is appealing to the referee, Tess Olofsson. I think she felt there was a foul and nothing given, and I think VAR satisfied as well, and there's certainly no penalty.
No, she's just, it's very physical. It was very physical in the end, but it was fantastic of Lucy Bronze again to get on the end of it from the corner, and obviously the ball fell to Ella Toon, couldn't quite get hold of it and it went over, but good play from England again.
England's excitement maybe a little bit dented by the injury to Keira Walsh, but certainly performance has been a great improvement on what we saw against Haiti on match day 1 in Brisbane. England had more shots on goal in the first half than they did in the entire 90 minutes against Haiti, and Lauren James has scored an absolute beauty tonight. Free kick to Denmark on halfway. Denmark had a couple of first half chances, but Mary Earps has not had a serious save to make as yet. The ball is belted long from halfway by Balesaga. It's a poor free kick, cut out easily by Laura Coombs, sending it skywards. Header away by Alex Greenwood at the heart of the England defence, knocked back towards the edge of the England penalty area by Holmgaard, but Greenwood is there again, and now England are on the break with Chloe Kelly. Lovely touch from Kelly, two forward support right and left. Kelly plays it right behind Russo. Russo tries to feed James out on the left, and that ball is behind James as well, and that England counter-attack, which looks so promising momentarily, ultimately comes to nothing.
Yeah, that was definitely on. They created the overload of 4v3, but I think ultimately it was just poor decision making in the end. The initial ball from Ella Toon to Alessia Russo was behind her, which then meant that Alessia Russo had to check back a little bit. Then to Lauren James, the execution of the ball wasn't good enough.
England 1, Denmark 0 early in the second half on Talksport 2. Lucy Bronze hangs up a cross towards the far post, and looking to reach it was Ella Toon of Manchester United in England, and out of play it goes for a Denmark goal kick. We have the Talksport Trophy coming up later on Talksport 1 till 4 H&J, a five-a-side game between Team Breakfast and the Talksport All-Stars, and Leanne will be part of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I do think the teams are quite uneven. Got 4 ex-Premier League players on the other team.
Are you on the Breakfast team or the All-Stars team?
Yes, I'm on the Breakfast team.
Now that is Dean Saunders, or is it Alan Brazil actually? Is he the team captain?
I think so. No, yeah, I think he is.
Well, we're looking forward to it. And a host of big names, former players and Talksport presenters, if you want to join H&J between 1 and 4. At the start of the EFL season next week, commentaries on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and then 4 exclusive national radio commentaries from the opening weekend of the Premier League Season 2. We've got more live football than anywhere else on the radio, on the Talksport network. England looking to get to the brink of the round of 16 with a win here against Denmark. That's a ball lofted forward by Catherine Kuhl of Arsenal, and Denmark looking through the middle for Pernille Harder, once of Chelsea, but It's straight through to Mary Earps, the England goalkeeper, and England can build again. And I guess it's desperate disappointment to see Kira Walsh come off, but from an England perspective, the players' perspective, Leanne, what's the message in that sort of circumstance? Is it right, you got to forget about it and get on with it now?
You try to forget about it, but it's always in the back of your mind, you know, because it's your teammate and you're thinking about them. But I think at the same time, you know, with regards to the game so far, I think it's been a good performance from England.
Oh, that's a terrible ball by Millie Bright, and she got away with it thanks to an excellent sliding tackle from Alex Greenwood. Bright and Greenwood with Madsen sandwiched in between them. Madsen almost won it on the edge of the England box. Greenwood slid in to get it away, and now England counter, far side their right. They win a throw deep inside opposition territory, which Lucy Brond is going to take. 1-0 England.
Yeah, again, a little bit lapsadaisical from Millie Bright. They need to stay switched on completely.
Bronze to the edge of the box, crosses, headed away by Boy, out to the edge of the penalty area. England looking threatening momentarily here. Kelly hugging the touchline, 1-2 with 2. Kelly to the dead ball line, away from Veer, pulls it back towards the edge of the penalty area, swept away by Hasbo of Denmark. But England have quickly regained possession again, and back they go to the halfway line, and Greenwood, who so often, and as we saw at the Euros with a number of substitute appearances that she made, Alex Greenwood, so often, having played at 3 World Cups for England too, a sort of underrated player who goes under the radar.
Yeah, it's interesting because Alex Greenwood played a lot of minutes leading into the Euros, got there and then didn't really play at all. So I feel for players like that, but I'm glad she's getting the opportunity she deserves. She's had to be patient, you know, and she's very versatile. She can play left back, centre back, you know, she can also probably play in the left of the 3 up top if they ever needed her as well, because she's got an exceptional delivery.
Not often that you see a centre-half taking the set pieces as well. Header away by Greenwood, another important interception in front of Thompson. Denmark have it on the halfway line. England not entirely secure defensively. Harders peeled away at the far post if Thompson can find her with a cross down the right. Thompson pulls it back in field towards Cool, who poked it goalwards under pressure. Nothing behind it. Easily gathered by Earps. That's a warning sign though for England.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why Cool tried to hit that on the outside of the foot with no real conviction, because you can see Madsen was to the left and they did have a 2v1 situation. But I think in the last 5 minutes or so, we're starting to see Millie Bright. In the first half, I think she was exceptional in the first half, but she's given away the ball a lot in this second half, and the momentum seems to be swaying a little bit with the Danes in this last 5 minutes or so.
Denmark have edged themselves into the game after a slow start, albeit a slow start where England were in tremendous form, and really I think any side might have struggled to live with the pace and the dynamism of England that we saw in the opening minutes in Sydney. But since then, England haven't been able to add to their single goal lead, and of course with players like Pernilla Harder on the field, that'll be a concern for Serena Wiegman. The ball is on the halfway line with Holmgaard. Holmgaard drives the ball on the angle towards the Denmark right, but that's out of play, and an England throw in the left back position. England 1, Denmark 0. 8 minutes gone in the second half.
Yeah, I think Holmgaard's had a relatively good game when she has had the ball. She just made a mistake there by hitting it out of play, trying to go to Thompson. But you can see they're creating opportunities. There's a lot of gaps in the midfield now that Kira Walsh has gone out of there. Obviously, Laura Coombs is a completely different player to Kira Walsh. Kira Walsh is one of the best in the world in that position and one of the best players in the world. So she's going to be a big loss in this second half. I hope Bethany England gets an opportunity to come into this game. I really do, because I think she deserves it.
I didn't see her at all at the Euros. Beth England now of Tottenham. Here is James winning a free kick in the left back position. Let's go to our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. Courtney, what was the feeling like at half-time among the press pack after that Kira Walsh injury, and of course a much improved performance from England?
Yeah, I think, as you say, that the first thing was the improved performance, although I think, you know, towards the end of that first half, Denmark started to come back into the game. Obviously everyone sends their best wishes with Kira as well, and hoping it's not as bad as it's looked. But from me, from a personal point, I'm so happy to see Laura Coombs on the pitch, a player that I've played with, and yeah, gave me many assists at Liverpool, by the way. So yeah, I've got a lot to thank her for. But yeah, I think, you know, her journey as well, 32 in her first major tournament. So for her getting here, it was a big moment for her stepping on the pitch for sure.
Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England reporter, watching on in Sydney. England have won it back with Georgia Stanway through the middle towards Ella Toon, who couldn't control on the stretch. Denmark looking to break and get it clear. England have won it back again with Bronze. Bronze racing right down the middle. Russo back to goal. Not seen much of Russo tonight. James, couple of step overs on the corner of the penalty area. Got beyond Sabeka. Can't get beyond Hasbo as well though. And actually has the referee signalled for a corner here? I think she has. It's an England corner. Hasbo must have got the last touch. It looked to me like a goal kick, but England will certainly take it.
Brilliant play again from Lauren James. Throws in a nutmeg, so creative, double step over, and she kept it. She almost looked like she ran out of play and then kept it in play. I actually thought it was a goal kick as well, but we'll take that.
Well, the final of the World Cup will be in Sydney, not in this stadium, but in the much bigger stadium, Australia, on the 20th of August. England are desperate to get there. England 7-0 up in the corner count, 1-0 up in terms of the scoreline. Greenwood's delivery, high to the back post. Toon is there, Bronze is there as well. They can't bundle it home. Stanway got the initial touch, and then Bronze always lurking dangerously at the far post, out-muscled by Harder. England win their second corner in quick succession. A second goal would give them that luxury of breathing space.
Great deliveries into the box. I've been really impressed with Alex Greenwood and Chloe Kelly's deliveries today. I think they've been really, really good, especially the out-swinging corners. And Lucy Bronze, the willingness and the tenaciousness to get on the end of every single one. The only thing I'll say, maybe mix it up a little bit. Find another player.
What can Kelly do with the corner here? She's going to float it in high towards the edge of the 6-yard box, flicked away by Balesaga, and then knocked behind out of play again. That's a really poor clearance from Katrine Kuhl, and she could have cleared the ball just about anywhere rather than knocking it into touch behind the dead ball line. And England with a corner, and there are lots of England flags behind the goal to our left. A big contingent of Lionesses supporters, and 3 corners in rapid succession for England. Playing from right to left, in by Greenwood to the edge of the 6-yard box. Lucy Bronze is there, darting in with a header. It's gone wide, and Bronze has maybe hurt herself a bit here, being marked by Pernilla Harder. Gone down, initially clutching the back of her head, and now it's good to see Lucy Bronze get to her feet again. So it's still just a 1-0 lead for England.
Lucy Bronze has been brilliant on set pieces. She's got on the end of nearly every one. That's 9 corners now England have had, and I think she's been brilliant on them. I think they just need to mix it up a little bit. I think they need to maybe maybe go short on a couple of them. I'm not a big fan of short corners, but just mix it up a little bit, because 9 corners, and I'd say probably 7 of those have gone on the head of Lucy Bronze, or she's found herself on the end of it because of her willingness.
It's that drill delivery, isn't it, from both wings each and every time towards that back post. China against Haiti is the other game today in Group D, and if England win and China fail to beat Haiti in Adelaide, England will be through to the round of 16. So that's a 12 o'clock kickoff our time, and there'll be reports of that over on Talksport. And as I say, Talksport the place to be for Leanne & Co. and the Talksport Trophy team breakfast against the Talksport All-Stars, and so much live football to come across the course of the domestic season as well. And then the Euros in Germany, the men's Euros next summer. The football never stops, as we know, Leanne.
And we never stop, Jeremy. We wouldn't want it any other way. I'm going to score one today like Lauren James did. I'm going to bend it in.
You've got some inspiration now.
Yeah, I think we've got the Moose in goal, so...
Oh, you should be all right then, shouldn't you? With apologies to the Moose if he's listening. So, nearly an hour gone. I wonder whether Serena Wiegmann might think about 1 or 2 changes in the next 5-10 minutes or so. Again, England for Russo is potentially the one that people will be talking about. Has Ella Toon made enough of an impact for you? Again, there was talk after the Haiti game that maybe her place was under threat. In the end, it wasn't the case, but is she doing enough in the middle of the park for you?
I'd say yes and no. I think today's been better than the game against Haiti. I think what I would do in this situation is I'd take off Ella Toon, put Lauren Hemp on, and push Lauren James into the 10 position. I think you keep her on the field of play. I think with Serena Wiegmann, in that number 9 role, though, we saw in the last game, I think she changed it in about the 75th, 80th minute and brought Rachel Daly on in that position. So, or maybe she could make a change in the back line, but I personally wouldn't do that. I'd keep it as it is, maybe make some changes up front. But Ella Toon, I think, like I said, going from being that player that's being brought on in the Euros, an impact player, to then starting, it's completely different. And I think she just needs to find a way of having more of an impact on these games and being on the ball a little bit more.
Katrine Veer has the ball in the left-back position for Denmark. Katrine Bear of Everton, and the long throw up towards the halfway line. Harder can't bring it down, and England have kept Harder quiet for the first hour of the game. No doubt about that. Pernille Harder still seeking her first ever goal at a World Cup. She is Denmark's all-time top scorer in men's and women's football, 70 international goals. Bright on the halfway line, the England captain. Angle to the right, and Kelly. Back to Coombs, through the legs of the defender. Good dummy by Bronze as well. Kelly's going to take an England throw, level with the edge of the 18-yard box, far side the England right. Looking for options, Bronze is going to come forward. And England have, I think, certainly retained a much greater sense of control over the football match, again, than they did against Haiti, where it all felt a little bit out of their control for much of the 90 minutes. Russo with her back to goal, trying to spin and turn away from Boy, hooks it back across, headed away by Balenciaga, and the ball had already gone out of play off the touch of Russo. She couldn't quite keep it in, down by the dead ball line, did all she could, but goal kick given.
It's quite amazing really, because the assistant referee didn't put the flag up, and that ball, you could see from here, was about 5 yards out of play. I know they had the analysis, with the technology where they know it's gone out of play, but don't know why the assistant didn't put the flag up. Alessia Russo desperately needs a goal, I feel, as well. I don't think it's her fault. I wouldn't say she's had a bad game or anything like that, but she's not getting any service at all. I wouldn't even say there's been any opportunities that have been created, and that comes from that 10. I think if you've got a Fran Kirby in there, she occupies those spaces, gets in between the lines, and is able to find the centre forward. I just don't really know where the service to Alessia Russo is coming from.
Here comes Rachel Daly, England's number 9, maybe trying to provide that from left back, forward to James, skips infield away from Saveka and from Hasbo as well, tries to get to the return ball from Toon. She was blocked off there, James, and the referee gives the free kick the other way. I can't believe that.
How is that even possible? How is that even possible? It was a lovely 1-2 between Ella Toon and Lauren James.
That is ridiculous, that decision.
I don't know how the referee's given that decision. I have no idea. We can see Lauren James's disbelief as well.
Hasbo's been quite clever. In fact, it was Holmgaard who's been quite clever there, I think, in buying that free kick.
Really clever.
Well, England have quickly won it back nonetheless. Millie Bright has it midway inside her own half, and now Lucy Bronze 10 yards shy of the halfway line. We'll go to our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk in just a moment. England have it with Coombs in the right back position. Square ball and a little 1-2 between Coombs and Stanway. Coombs back towards Bright, that's a terrible ball. Goalkeeper Earps was alert before Pernille Harder could get onto it, and England have got to be careful. Do you think Serena Wiegman might be thinking about changes, Courtney?
Will do. For me, it's very tentative around the stadium. There's that air of nervousness, and I sort of echo that and share that. While it's only 1-0, yes, the performance has been a lot better, but we know that 1-0 is always a precarious scoreline, and we've seen at times that Denmark can break that line. There's been a few mistakes at the back. And for me, I want to see Lauren James more central. I always say that. Again, you think about this time in the game as well. If you bring Lauren Hemp on, the pace that she's got against tired defenders, that would be the change that I would like to see. But who knows what Serena's thinking.
Well, we have had 63 minutes, and it is kind of around that time where you maybe tend to see second half substitutions, but Serena Wiegman is a very loyal head coach. She doesn't tend to bring the changes all that often with England. 2 to her starting 11 today, didn't make any at all at the Euros. And so she does tend to stick with a winning side, a team in the lead. England still a little shaky at times at the back, and of course no Leah Williamson to really provide a firm conviction to that back four. But they still lead 1-0. They have a throw which Lucy Bronze is going to take on the far side, the right. Smack on the halfway line. Infield it goes to Coombs, crowded out, and the free kick goes the way of Denmark. I'm really not sure there was much in that from Coombs. I think she was shrugged aside, and it was won back well by Hasbo, but I'm not really sure what Coombs could have done or what she did to give away a foul there.
No, I think the referee seems to be on a bit of a power trip so far in this second half, because that wasn't a foul at all. But I think with regards to the back line, they've certainly looked better, but we saw that one with Laura Coombs a second ago. We can't be doing that type of stuff back there. Unforced errors given away and creating opportunities for the Danes.
Veja will take the free kick. It's just inside Denmark territory. She's going to smack it forward high and long, and sweeping away from right to left towards the corner of the penalty area. That's a shove in the back from Thompson without any question at all on Rachel Daly. England free kick. I think Daly wants more than just a talking to for Thompson, who shakes her head.
That should be a booking. I mean, that is just absolutely stupid.
Cynical.
From Thompson. It doesn't make sense. Rachel Daly's going absolutely nowhere. You play completely into Rachel Daly's hands there by drawing a foul, because she's going nowhere. Go on the other side of her, make Rachel Daly have to make a decision. But I don't know what Thompson's complaining about there either. I think that should have been a yellow card.
Do stay with us on Talksport 2 post-match as well. And we will try and bring you a post-match reaction from the England camp, and you can hear that on Talksport across the day as well. On the attack come Denmark with Harder. Left-hand edge of the penalty area, back out wide to Madsen. Madsen twisting and turning, left-footed cross deflects off Lucy Bronze, goes behind for Denmark's first corner. 20 minutes into the second half. It's taken them a while, but they do have a corner here, the Danes, ranked at number 13 in the world. It's their first World Cup campaign since 2007. They're regulars at the Euros, and they regularly go deep into the European Championships. 6 times Euros semi-finalists. And they were in the position at the start of the day where, just like England, they could get themselves on the brink of qualification with a win, but a lot of work to do. Live on Talksport 2. All of England's games live on the network. Corner for Denmark, whipped in high towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed away by Greenwood. It's come out to Madsen on the edge of the D. England have not got it away yet. Ball on the far side. Holmgaard took it off the toes of her own player. Plays it back to Veer. I think that Thompson might have been in a better position to put a cross in there before Holmgaard, who is a defensive midfielder, came in and took it off her. Stanway knocks it out of play for a Denmark throw, level with the edge of the 18-yard box. And England have to be stoic and determined defensively here, just as they were for much of the Euros. Cross in by Cool into the penalty area, headed away by Millie Bright. Nobody in red anywhere near her. It was a clear header from Bright, and then it's scooped up into the air a bit clumsily by Stanway, but James has lost possession to Madsen. Madsen back to Saveka, and Saveka wins a throw off James, and Denmark maybe, just maybe, starting to grow in confidence here as we enter the final quarter of the game. Denmark a goal down, England a goal up.
You can feel the momentum swayed a little bit with the Danes. You can see they're kind of coming into the game. England just need to maybe make a tactical change, because they're dropping a lot deeper than they were in the first half as well. So I think, you know, they've, again, good display, but it's still only 1-0, and we've seen the Danish team can really hurt you in any given moment with the quality that they have. So England just need to maybe, you know, maybe potentially a substitution might make that happen. We just need to stop giving away the ball in areas.
And England with Millie Bright do just that. She's given it straight to Madsen, and now Pernilla Harder corner of the penalty area. Coolers making a run up the middle, and Harder looked left towards Madsen, and again in England were fortunate there. Lucy Bronze will get it away. Forward by Stanway towards the halfway line. Russo's conceded possession, and Denmark are having a good spell in the game, but can they carve out a clear-cut opportunity? Madsen to the corner of the penalty area. Couple of neat step-overs, but she can't really jink beyond Daly or Coombs to any good effect. Now it's Balesaga just inside the England half. We'll go back to Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England reporter, in just a moment. Denmark are on the attack though. Ball on the far side with Veer taking on Kelly. Veer driving up the left-hand channel. That's a poor ball in field. Coombs of Manchester City is there to intercept, and Coombs will keep possession. Lucy Bronze just signalling to calm things down. Courtney, if anybody, have England got anybody warming up on the near side touchline at the moment?
Yeah, they have. To my left, Joe, it's Bethany England, Lauren Hemp, Niamh Charles and Esme Morgan. For me, I think it looks like Lauren Hemp's the most likely to come on in terms of looking at what she's doing in her warm-up. She's the one that's certainly going through the most extensive warm-up, but Chloe Kelly's on the ball now on the edge of the box. She's looking for Ella Toon. It comes to nothing in the end, but I think for me, Denmark having their best spell in possession. There were, you know, the last few minutes they've boxed England in, which we've not seen for most of the game, but England look like they're retaining possession. But for me, something needs to change now, and I think it's actually Denmark, by the look of it, that are probably going to make their first change.
Thanks, Courtney. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk's going to be bringing us all the colour, the atmosphere, and all of the post-match interviews with the England camp, as I say, on the Talksport network as the tournament goes on for England. And of course we hope England go all the way. The Lionesses, the European champions, are they going to end the year world champions? The first time that any England team would win the World Cup, of course, since 1966. There's a heck of a long way to go. England aren't even in the round of 16 yet, but they are heading to the brink of that position. It would be 2 wins from 2 from the group stages, and thereafter, if China were to fail to beat Haiti, it'd be job done for England. China play Haiti later on. Denmark have it with Weah coming infield from the left back position. 20 minutes to go. Long ball floated high down towards the left and harder, but it's gone out of play. And I think, as Courtney mentioned, maybe a change on the way for Denmark, and there is a change, and it's the player who scored the winner for them late on match day 1, the super sub, Amelie Vangsgaard, who takes the place of Josephine Hasbo, and that's certainly an attacking change for the Danes. Amazing rise to stardom for Vangsgaard. She came on with 5 minutes to go against China and scored the winner for her first ever international goal.
Yeah, was the hero late on in the 89th minute, and they'll be looking for her to kind of have the similar impact in this game. I think with regards to England as well, I think there's been a lot of unforced errors in the last 10-15 minutes from Millie Bright, giving away the ball in those areas that you just cannot.
Oh, and England now with Russo. Lovely turn by Russo. There are 3 in attack here. Russo darting up the middle. To her right is Kelly. Russo rifles it wide. Angle was slightly against her, but it's another chance gone begging for England's Alessia Russo. And I think she'll feel from that sort of range she probably should have at least tested the goalkeeper.
Yeah, poor effort in the end. I think as well there was 3 or 4 England players, Ella Toone, Lauren James, were making those runs, and Chloe Kelly as well. I completely understand. You want your centre forward to take that responsibility on to shoot, but a poor effort in the end. And like I said, what I see from Alessia Russo right now is it's almost like she's trying too hard. Then you start to snatch at things because you know there's competition for places within this team.
Here comes James, great run down the middle, electric pace, and now Kelly looking to drift infield from the right, plays it further wide to Coombs, and Coombs has that one misplaced pass aside been, I think, steady and has done a decent job with Kira Walsh, having been stretched off injured earlier on, Leanne.
Yeah, fair play to Laura Coombs. I think she's been exceptional since she come into the game. She's not going to be one of those players that's going to do all the glitz and glamour, but she'll be a steady Eddie. She'll do the job, keep it short, keep it simple. And to come on in a World Cup game, especially when you've not played in a major tournament before, you know, a minimal caps, I think credit to her. And we've just seen again Millie Bright just hit the ball out of play, and I feel like we're reverting back to stuff we did against Haiti. So it's not good to see the way we've lost our way a little bit in this second half.
We'll keep you up to date with any news that we get of that Kira Walsh injury, by the way, on the Talksport network, and Leanne and Faye are doing the World Cup podcast across the tournament as well. Lots of discussion to be had. Weah's cross from the left for Denmark. It's looping, and Mary Earps had to stretch to tip it away. England's goalkeeper once again, when called upon, was up to the task. Again, she's not had much to do, Mary Earps, but her concentration levels were high. That cross could have dipped in from Weah.
It looked like it was going in as well. It was a great hand in the end from Mary Earps. Absolutely brilliant. And the concentration levels of Mary Earps is incredible, really. I mean, she has minimal touches within the game in the last game, and she pulled off 2 incredible saves, 3, but the 2 in the last game were exceptional. And that save there was a cross-come shot, but it was definitely going in. Great hand.
Well, it's a Danish corner on the near side that Weah will take. It'll be a left-footed in-swinger, and set plays proved to be the route to goal for Denmark late on against China. The header from Vangsgaard giving them the victory, and what a set piece proved fruitful here. They've got much more height now in the team with Vangsgaard onto the field, have Denmark, and England have brought just about everybody back, I think. 1-0 up, live on Talksport 2. There's a nervy moment though for the Lionesses. It's Weah with the delivery, right underneath the crossbar and on to the roof of the net.
Poor delivery in the end from Weah, but you could see that's an opportunity lost there for Denmark because they completely loaded the box. It was so congested in around the 6-yard box, and in the end a really poor ball, and that's exactly not, as a Danish player you don't want that to be the situation. You've loaded the box, everybody's up there, and then it's a poor ball in the end.
Serena Wiegman watching on now from the edge of her technical area. Dark blue jacket and trousers. England scoop the ball high towards halfway. Kelly shoving the back from Weah. That'll be an England free kick. We'll have Ireland's final group game live on Monday morning against Nigeria. Ireland, who sadly have been knocked out of the tournament despite a couple of decent performances against Australia and Canada England against China in their final Group D match on Tuesday lunchtime on Talksport 2. England, if they do reach the round of 16, if they do reach it as or whether they reach it as group winners or runners-up, they would play one of the top two from Ireland's group, Group B, so either Australia, Canada or Nigeria in the round of 16. And England are not far off the victory that would put them within a hair's breadth of the knockouts. Ball is out of play for a goal kick to Denmark away to the left, and there's still no sign of changes.
It's quite amazing as well, because we don't want to talk too much about Keira Walsh, but we will, because she is one of the best players in the world. And I think we've lost our way a little bit, not just because the players are a bit shell-shocked with regards to the injury, but if you notice, Joe, in the first half we were using Lauren James a lot down the left-hand side with Rachel Daly, then it kind of shifted. We started to go down the right-hand side with Chloe Kelly and Lucy Bronze. Now it's almost like we're not using either flank, which is quite strange in the last 10-20 minutes or so, that we haven't been using anyone.
And here come two England changes. Beth England and Lauren Hemp taking to the field. Alessia Russo and Ella Toone coming off.
Yeah, I think those substitutions make sense. I think, it's been difficult for Alessia Russo because she's not scored in the tournament yet, but I don't think there's been many chances created for her. I think in both games, Ella Toone hasn't really, better today than against Haiti, but hasn't really been able to stamp or have any type of impact on the game. And I said it before, it's one thing being an impact player coming off the bench, and then it's when you're starting in these games, how can you impact the game when you're in it from the beginning? So both are quality players, and Alessia Russo and Ella Toone, but I'm really delighted that Lauren Hemp has come on. I think she's got a great delivery, but Bethany England, I think it's a massive opportunity for her, and I'm delighted that she's got on the field of play because she deserves it.
Well, there are changes too for Denmark, a double change. Frederica Ferguson onto the field in place of Balesaga, and the other change sees Nicolina Sørensen, who plays her football in the WSL for Everton, take to the field. And Denmark have rolled the dice now. Lars Sondergaard, I think it's Madsen who's gone off to be replaced by Sørensen. And let's see how England shape up positionally here, because James and Kelly are still both on the field, and Hemp and England as well.
I imagine that Lauren James will drop into that number 10 role. You can see she's sitting a little bit deeper, almost alongside Georgia Stanway.
And it's Beth England's major tournament debut. Would you believe it? It feels surprising that somehow. You sort of expect that she'd have had more international opportunities than she has done, but it's a little bit like at club level at times. Long ball up towards England straight away. That's come off the back of the retreating defender Boy, and cleared to the halfway line by Denmark. 12.5 minutes to go. England 1, Denmark 0 it remains.
In a player like Bethany England, there's some players that you feel like they never really get a rub of the green, if you know what I mean. I think she played well at Chelsea and then got benched when they got Sam Kerr, and then obviously gone to Tottenham Hotspur, and she's done really, really well last year in the WSL, so I'm delighted. Obviously at the Euro she was an unused sub. That's a really difficult role to have, along with Moy as well. It's difficult to play those roles within tournaments, and she'll be delighted to get on, and hopefully she can get on the score sheet or have some type of impact on the game.
Here is Millie Bright, midway inside her own half the field. Skies dark overhead in Sydney. And temperatures dropping a little bit, but still relatively mild for the Australian winter. Remember, it's about 9 hours ahead of us in Sydney, so it's well into the evening now. Lots of England fans in the stadium, the Sydney Football Stadium, trying to get behind the Lionesses. I think they can sense a little bit of nervousness about the team. It was a free-flowing first half performance, certainly in the first half an hour. Then we had the injury to Keira Walsh, and the second half has been, I think, a bit more stop-start from Serena Wiegmann's perspective.
Yeah, it has. It's difficult to maintain those levels throughout the whole 90 minutes because England started so quickly, didn't they? They were on the front foot. Every pass was crisp. I feel like we've lost our way a little bit in this second half, but fundamentally, when you are a top team, it's winning when you're not playing that well. And I think today's definitely been a massive improvement from the game against Haiti. And I think we just need to have a more consistent performance over the 90 minutes because we have controlled this game, I would say, for large parts of it. But then the times when Denmark have had the opportunities have come from complete unforced errors.
Well, sometimes you have to grow into a major tournament. And Denmark have got a player down. It's Thompson who's being treated. I think a collision with her own player, her own teammate Ferguson. So Thompson, there's an ice pack actually being applied to, I think, her jaw maybe. So hopefully that can be sorted out pretty quickly, and good to see Thompson getting back to her feet. The Danes have played in fits and starts but haven't seriously tested Mary Earps. Maybe that floated cross from Veer aside, and Earps did really well to react. Such a steady influence, Mary Earps. But you can see this is an England team that is Sean Leanne, and we knew it before the tournament kicked off, obviously, with no Williamson, no Kirby, no Mead. We'll see how long Kira Walsh's absence is potentially going to be, but you can see at times that it is an England team without some of their key players.
Yeah,
that's
you can.
Understandable.
It is, and I think you're treading a bit of a fine line if you're going into these games, you're dominating and you're not really making the most of the opportunities created. I think you could see in the first and the second half have been night and day with regards to momentum and the bite that the players had in the first half. But I said it's difficult to have that type of pace all over the 90 minutes, but I think it's been a good performance, definitely better. But you don't want to be holding on, in the 81st minute. Not saying we're holding on, but it's still only 1-0.
Well, 9 minutes to go. Here is Greenwood darting forward over the halfway line for England. Threads it to the left, and Daly with a bit of space to move into. Further wide is Hemp. Hemp, like an old-fashioned winger, driving to the dead ball line. She's blocked off at the near post. Back it goes to Daly once more. Daly crosses high, right-footed. England with a looping header, and it's just wide. That was nearly the moment for Beth England and the Lionesses. Flick looping header. Would the goalkeeper have got there? I'm not sure. Just wide of the angle of post and crossbar.
Absolutely brilliant ball from Rachel Daly. Unlucky for Beth England, she rose really well. I think she did everything right. But it's interesting because I'm sure Alessia Russo's probably thinking on the bench, where were those balls going into the box when she was on there? But I think the problem with Alessia Russo is I think she drops out wide quite a lot. Whereas Bethany England and Rachel Daly, when they play that role, they stay more central, and then the balls, the players can hit you in those areas.
Ironically, it's the kind of cross that Rachel Daly herself would often thrive off. Here come Denmark on the attack, crossed by Sørensen, cut out at the near post by a stretching Millie Bright, the England skipper. Plenty in the crowd on their feet, all around the Sydney Football Stadium. It's sold out, 40,000 here tonight. Coombs has played it from right to left to find Hemp. Hemp on the halfway line, lots of pace about Hemp. She drives into opposition territory, held up by Cool. Gets the return ball though, does Hemp from Daly. Hemp trying to skip in field, away from the defender tracking back. It's driven away from danger this time by Thompson, who's a very versatile player and has dropped into the right back position. Can play at full back or on the wing or as part of a front three. And now Lucy Bronze in England's right back spot on the far side as we look at it. Back in field to Greenwood. Greenwood just drives the ball long. It's an excellent ball. High up the inside left channel towards Hemp. Can she get beyond Thompson? Both players have got pace. Thompson got the better of that 50-50, and it's behind and away for a goal kick to Denmark. Job not done yet for England, but they are 7 minutes away from 2 wins from 2.
Yeah, that was a brilliant ball from Alex Greenwood. Good run from Lauren Hemp as well to stretch the field of play. One thing I'd like to see, there's still only 7 minutes to go plus additional time, but I want to see England breaking with a bit more numbers. I think when we broke then with Lauren Hemp in the initial play, there wasn't really many opportunities. She had to play a little 1-2 with Beth England, but other than that, there wasn't really many options for her to break and go forward.
England 1, Denmark 0 at the FIFA Women's World Cup 2023 on Talksport 2. As Daly has almost given that away inadvertently. Millie Bright's in to hammer it clear to the halfway line. Talksport 2 in association with Xero small business accounting software. Dream bigger. Stanway on the halfway line. Hooks it away from Holmgaard and out to the right and Bronze. Stanway has now got to her feet a little gingerly, just pulled her socks up, and here come England with Coombs playing it back to Bronze. Bronze just inside Denmark territory. Much more of a tense feel to this game now. That's a great ball floated downfield towards England though, and England couldn't quite reach it inside right channel. Good movement from the striker.
Good ball from Laura Coombs as well. I like that type of creativity. It was a wonder. It was asking a lot for Bethany England to get on the end of that, but I think we've not really seen many balls like that, have we, Joe? Going in behind, threading it down in that channel in between the centre back and the full back. I think a lot of the joy we've had is down the flanks, but we haven't really seen any straight balls or direct balls to goal.
Great play by Alex Greenwood, stepping out of defence with almost a nonchalant air to win it back for England. And now James has skipped away from Holmgaard. There's a path for her through the middle to the penalty area. She plays it with the outside of her right boot to the far side, and Kelly controls on the dead ball line. She's got runners forward, and one of them is Bronze 10 yards to the edge of the box. She shoots, and it flashes well wide in the end. Lucy Bronze, who loves a spectacular goal at a World Cup, as we spoke about earlier, but that was miles wide of the target in the end.
It was, but she has that in her locker. I said it before, against Norway in 2015, it was almost like a carbon copy, and that one went straight into the top corner. So I think Lucy Bronze had a really good game today. I think she looked more like herself. I think that's a lot to do with the fact that Alex Greenwood and Millie Bright have looked way more commanded, especially in the first half. The second half, I think Millie Bright's given away the ball quite a lot.
It's been given away by Daly this time. Here's Pernilla Harder for Denmark, spins away from Stanway, middle of the England half. There's space for Sørensen to cross on the far side, the left. She does, into the 6-yard box. Great clearance by Daly, and Bright was there as well. I think Daly might have actually got the touch to knock it away, and atoning for the error in conceding possession. But England again making life difficult for themselves, trying to play out from the back, and it's creating chances for Denmark. 4.5 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Vea with a floated delivery, high to the far post, headed away by Daly again. England 1, Denmark 0 it remains. Live on Talksport 2, but the nerves are starting to creep in for the Lionesses. And now it's Hemp with a careless header. Cool plays it through the middle, and now an opportunity maybe down the right for Harder. Harder's kept it in play on the dead ball line. Daly was down there momentarily. She's now back up on her feet. England have got some defensive work to do. The job is far from done yet. We've said throughout the game, a 1-0 lead is a slender one. Cool dinks the ball towards the left. A strange pass that. I think she mishit it, but it's still fallen at the feet of Sørensen by the corner flag. Whips in the cross. The header off the post. Vangsgaard so nearly the super sub for Denmark again. England flat-footed, and the header careered onto the woodwork. And it's a massive let-off for the Lionesses.
What a header from Vangsgaard. We know she was the hero against China in the 89th minute, but England need to stop giving away the ball. They consistently have given away the ball in the last 10 or 15 minutes. It was a bit of a strange one, the way Denmark were building up on the left-hand side. I think Lucy Bronze needs to get a little bit tighter here. You can't allow the ball to be put into the box, and you know, the back line have looked a bit suspect in the last 10-15 minutes. They've been giving away the ball in that initial play there as well. When the ball goes into Vangsgaard, you know, you've got Rachel Daly, Millie Bright and Alex Greenwood just kind of ball watching. Need to stay concentrated.
Denmark have brought on Sanna Troelsgaard in place of Karen Holmgaard. That's another attacking change. Very experienced Sanna Troelsgaard. And in fact, this is her World Cup debut, her 177th cap for the Danish national team. And Denmark, who have improved as the game's gone on, but not created a great deal. So close to what would have been a remarkable equaliser and a remarkable start to the tournament for their number 9, Amelie Vangsgaard, who got above England's number 9, Rachel Daly, but couldn't find the back of the net. Denmark maybe will feel, the way the second half has gone, a little frustrated that they haven't got themselves a goal out of this.
It's so strange really, because I think England have played really well in this game, like especially in the first half. We looked really good, popping the ball around, possessing the ball. I think at this point it's probably 10 or 11 corners we've had. Denmark have had none, so it's almost like, why are we able to possess the ball so much but not really create opportunities in the final third to put the ball in the back of the net? Denmark have looked really, really good going forward, especially in the last 10-20 minutes. You know, they're creating overloads. We're giving away the ball again. It's quite shaky. I think someone just needs to take some responsibility and manage the game now. There's 2 minutes to go plus additional time. We don't need to get another goal. England don't need to get another goal. Just see it out.
Well, there are plenty of leaders in this England side, even with the injury absences, but they've got work to do here. The ball is hooked down the middle by Vangsgaard. Sørensen could be in. What a tackle by Millie Bright. Sørensen still got to the loose ball. Appeals for handball and nothing's given. Lots of England fans up in arms behind the goal as Sørensen eventually steers in the cross, cleared away by Bright, and the referee signalled that Sørensen had taken the ball out of play. So it will be a goal kick to England. And Millie Bright, amid all of that, made an important lunging challenge.
Yeah, in the end, I mean, England got lucky in the end. I think there's been a lot of I think England looked quite vulnerable in this second half. I'm not quite sure why, because I felt like in the first half, it's amazing what can happen when somebody gives away the ball consistently, and it can kind of breed lack of confidence throughout the team, because as soon as Millie Bright gave away the ball a couple of times, then Rachel Daly started to do it, and it's almost like the team then started to look a bit shaky, when I think we've looked pretty comfortable in this game. And in the last 10-20 minutes, Denmark have really taken a foothold in this game and have looked like they're going to potentially score, which I don't know where this has come from.
You do wonder how difficult it is when you, I guess, essentially lose a lot of the spine of your team. Nolia Williamson, Beth Mead and Fran Kirby at the top end of the pitch. Kira Walsh stretched off injured in the first half here. That has an effect on any side, but I guess, Leanne, in the place of those players, others have to step up and take the responsibility as we move into stoppage time. And England largely have done that. They lead 1-0, and they're a team. They're not just a set of a few individuals. And though it has been certainly a more difficult second half of the second half, England, if they get the victory, can reflect on an improved performance. 4 minutes of added time, 30 seconds of it have elapsed.
Yeah, they just need to put their foot on the ball now, see the game out. I think in the second half, Lauren James hasn't really been given the ball. It's quite strange, really, because when I look at England's game plan and how we set up, I think it's been a great performance. I love Serena Wiegmann, but I'm thinking, in the second half, what has changed? Yes, Kira Walsh has gone off, but then other players that have come in still need to find the ball. They were getting so much joy down the left-hand side with Lauren James and Chloe Kelly down the right, that it's almost like we just stopped doing that. It was quite strange, really.
Daly's got the ball for England in the left-back position. Square pass to Greenwood, who darts away from the lively Vangsgaard. 1 minute of the 4 added has been played, and England win, coupled with China failing to beat Haiti later, would send England into the round of 16 at the World Cup. But the job on the field here against Denmark is not done yet. Veja whips in a cross, comes shot, and Mary Earps will gather it. She was 45 yards out probably there, Katrine Veja, left of centre. That can't have been a deliberate effort on goal, but Earps was able to clutch it into her chest anyway.
Yeah, Veja seems to have that in her locker a little bit, that cross-come shot. We've seen her do that about 2 or 3 times during this game. One of them actually caused Mary Earps a lot of problems, and it was a really strong hand in the end. It's difficult for the goalkeepers in that situation when it's a cross-come shot.
The ball is played back by Thompson. And Lauren Hemp nearly made the interception there in front of the goalkeeper, but it ricocheted off the shins of the England player and out of play for a goal kick. 2 minutes of the 4 added have been played on Talksport 2. England's final group game next Tuesday, live here on Talksport 2, midday against China. And remember the Talksport Trophy live on H&J this afternoon from 1 till 4. That's all coming up for you across the network. Header away by Alex Greenwood from midway inside her own half. Denmark is seeing more and more of the ball. That one chance for Vangsgaard against the post, but England maybe earned a bit of luck, particularly with the first half performance today. And they have won a throw deep inside Danish territory, and they're closing in on victory now, England.
They are, and Courtney made a really good point. She said she could feel like at the stadium it felt a bit flat. I think the game's certainly gone a bit flat in this last 10-20 minutes with regards to England. I think Denmark have looked better. Their coach is probably thinking, why did we start this way? Because I think England had a real strong foothold in this game, possessing the ball. And I think, again, Serena Wiegmann will be happy with the result. The performance has definitely been better if it stays this way, but they'll certainly be looking at how do we stop other teams from getting chances, and because they are creating them. And if these teams, Denmark and Haiti, had a player that could put the ball in the back of the net, Pernilla Harder isn't that player. She's that 10 that needs to be provided. There's a big responsibility on her. But if these teams have a player that can put the ball in the back of the net and is clinical, like a Germany and Alexander Popp, then that could cause you problems. A Sam Kerr for Australia, you can't slip against these types of teams, whereas against Denmark and Haiti, you might get away with it.
Well, there are only 30 seconds to go. England have taken their time with this free kick, and almost nobody's in the penalty area. In fact, only Beth England is surrounded by a sea of players in red, and England have kept possession, as is the sensible thing to do, over on the far side there right. Neat flick up into the air by Chloe Kelly to find James. James down by the corner flag. Time is very nearly up. James will win another throw, this time off Veja. England are nearly there. All eyes on the referee, Tess Olofsson of Sweden, who blows the final whistle. And England are closing in on a place in the knockout stages of the Women's World Cup. It's 2 wins from 2 for the Lionesses in Group D. Back-to-back 1-0 victories, and if China fail to beat Haiti later on today, then England will be through to the knockout stages. Of course, they can get the job done in the final group game against China that you'll hear live on Talksport 2, but they are very nearly there, and England have produced an improved performance in Sydney this evening on a day of mixed emotions, I think, for Serena Wiegman and co. Lauren James with a wonderful goal in what was an excellent first half performance from England to give them the victory here over against a battling Denmark side who hit the post late on through Amelie Vangsgaard. There are still 1 or 2 questions to be answered for England from a performance perspective. Today certainly an improvement on match day 1. The disappointment for Serena Wiegman, that first half injury to Keira Walsh, who was stretchered off. We await news over how that will affect her World Cup to come. But for England in the group stages, very nearly job done. It is 2 wins from 2. Final score in Sydney, England 1, Denmark 0.
Thank you very much, Joe. It feels yet again, Leanne Sanderson, that the celebrations are very muted from the England players. It is another 3 points, 2 wins from 2, as Joe said, and a much better performance. But the optimism I felt in the opening half an hour has been tempered a little bit by that late pressure from Denmark. It felt like England got away with one a little bit.
Yeah, to a certain degree, it was very, very strange because the first half, I thought we were flying. I thought it was going to be, 2 or 3-0. And when myself and Joe were in comms, I said, we got all this possession. We need to make sure we capitalise on having all this ball possession, creating the chances, and we were flying. And then, sometimes in the second half, it will kind of go flat a little bit based upon you can't have that, sustain that amount of pressure and ball retention over 90 minutes. Otherwise, it'd be the perfect performance and every coach and every player would want that. It doesn't work like that. It's football. There are going to be moments in the game you're going to have to ride it out. But I think at times we created so many problems for ourselves. Their chances came from Millie Bright, Rachel Daly and the backline giving away the ball in those areas, and that was the concern for me. But overall, I thought it was a better performance, and I think because we're so used to the Lionesses winning so much more convincingly than they have in the last 2 games. I mean, both games have been 1-0, but I would say today was a complete step up from the game against Haiti.
It definitely was a step up, and we heard from Lucy Bronze leading into the programme that a 1-0 win throughout the tournament, if they end up lifting the World Cup, they don't care how they do it. And we are still in the second game of the tournament, but I still feel as if there are question marks. And obviously the big news coming out of that, we'll obviously talk about the scintillating first half performance from Lauren James, but the big news coming out of that first half, which maybe is why that second half performance wasn't quite as good, was Keira Walsh's injury.
Yeah, definitely. You can see the players, maybe that's why their celebrations were subdued, because the thing is, you're not going to really, we're used to the Lionesses celebrating every single win last summer at the Euros, but they're not the home nation at this tournament. You can hear in the background Free From Desire, we hear Sweet Caroline in the last game as well, so it does feel like that home feel. But at the same time, when after this game now, all the players in the back of their mind are going to be thinking, I want to get to Keira Walsh, I want to see if she's okay, because it's horrible when you see the players going down like that, especially when they're on your team and you try and put it to the back of your mind, but it's always at the front. But I agree with what Lucy Bronze said. At the end of the day, a win's a win, isn't it? And yes, it might not be convincing, but don't the best teams always win when they're not having their best performances? But I thought today, genuinely, up until around the 60th minute, I thought we were quite convincing. I thought we started the game and played the game in the first half really, really well, but we lost our way a bit. And I think maybe the concern is if we play against a better team, i.e. the Netherlands, who I think have been exceptional, Japan, I don't think Australia and the US women's national team have played that well in the tournament yet either. So, it'll be interesting to see when we go up against a better opposition how well we do.
Well, the knockout stages are where, we see the big performances, isn't it? And that's where they're going to need to show their mettle as European champions. But what I found interesting when the substitutions were made in the 76th minute with Alessia Russo and Ella Toone coming off, we then saw Lauren James moving to that 10 position where you and I thought she might be more effective. It actually turned out she was better on the left.
Yeah, and it's interesting because football works out that way sometimes and personnel changes. But what I will say is I felt like in the second half we wasn't finding our front line at all. I said Alessia Russo was barely touching the ball, having to create chances herself. I didn't think it was her best game, but she's not really getting opportunities created. And then Lauren James and Chloe Kelly just wasn't getting the ball in the second half in the way that they were in the first half. So, yeah, I think sometimes in different games, especially the players you're going up against 1v1, you know, she was brilliant out on the left-hand side, Lauren James. But if you look at the performance overall individually, our front line wasn't really getting the ball. And that's something I think we need to look at on a consistent basis. How do we get, because you want your best players on the ball, especially the front line, how do we get them on the ball?
Yeah, well, we had corner after corner, didn't we, that Lucy Bronze seemed to be on the head of, either nodding down or attacking the goal herself, and just couldn't be clinical enough with those, and that's perhaps where England need to improve. But I just want to talk about Lauren James's goal, her debut on the World Cup stage, first ever start, and off she goes and produces an absolutely wonderful moment like she did.
Yeah, brilliant goal. You know, there's no better way to announce yourself on the world stage by scoring a goal like that. It was absolutely brilliant. She got into a great area, took up a really good position, and as soon as she took her touch out of her feet, she bent it with finesse. You know, it doesn't have to always have the most power. You don't have to always break the net, and it was a fantastic strike. And I'm delighted for her, because you know how highly I think of her, Faye. I think she's brilliant, and she would be one of my first names down on the team sheet, because I think she's got quality, but she offers something completely different. And in the Arnold Clark Cup, we saw she got the best player in the tournament. She scored, she was getting assists. I don't think the opposition was great during that tournament, but it was a good place for her to kind of cement her spot on the team, especially with Beth Mead having that injury as well, because I think Beth Mead probably would have played in the Arnold Clark, and maybe Lauren James would have been that impact player. But I'm delighted she got the goal. It's really, really good for her, and hopefully she can push on now and she can still continue to start in these games.
Yeah, we'll be getting reaction from the England camp with our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk waiting in the tunnel for the players to come down and speak to her, and of course the manager Serena Wiegmann as well. Don't forget that live football doesn't stop here today either. Over on Talksport at 2 o'clock, the Talksport Trophy is up for grabs. Talksport Breakfast versus Talksport All-Stars. Leanne Sanderson herself. Donning your boots, Leanne, are you?
Yes.
Yes, oh my goodness me.
I am, I know, and I said during the comms I'm going to try and do a Lauren James today, but as long as we win, I don't care who cares. I think it's going to be difficult, because I've seen the names in the lineup for the other team, but I'm not scared of no one. So if you're listening, boys, we're coming for you.
You've been inspired by LJ. Next here on Talksport 2, we'll continue to get all the reaction from England's Group D victory against Denmark. The Lionesses have 1 foot in the last 16. The other group game in D kicks off at 12 o'clock between China and Haiti, and anything but a win for China means England will be in the last 16 of the Women's World Cup 2023. You're listening to World Cup Live on Talksport 2.
Bonza ball bashing commentary.
Oh, what a goal!
The FIFA Women's World Cup.
Live
On Talksport 2.
What a ripper!
This is World Cup Live on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers. We are home of the Women's World Cup. Every single game covered here across the network. England have 2 wins from 2 after a 1-0 victory over Denmark in a far superior performance than their opener in Group D, albeit coming at the expense of midfielder Kira Walsh, who was stretchered off with a serious-looking injury late in the first half. While we wait on full-time reaction from Australia, let's check in at the Oval. It's day 2 of the 5th Ashes Test. England needing a win to avoid defeat. Sam Hellard is watching for Talksport 2.
Yeah, Faye, very good morning. They do indeed need a win, and they need some wickets this morning, and some wickets quickly. No breakthrough yet on day 2. Australia now 75 for 1, trailing England second innings by 208 runs. Usman Khawaja still with the crease, unbeaten on 33. Marnus Labuschagne 5 not out. Australia not scoring particularly quickly this morning, and Jimmy Anderson in particular has bowled well and has gone past the outside edge of Usman Khawaja's bat on a couple of occasions. But just at the moment, Faye, it seems a little bit flat at the Oval. The England players not perhaps looking sluggish in the field, but not looking at their absolute most upbeat. Of course, still frustration from last week, not being able to make it 2-2 going here at the Oval. England's just falling short of 300 runs yesterday. Harry Brook top scoring with 85. England would have wanted a few more runs to their name yesterday. But at the moment, Australia will be happy where they're at, just weathering the early storm here in overcast conditions. Australia's second innings, Faye, 75 for 1. They trail England by 208 runs.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Sam. Reaction to England's 1-0 win over Denmark at the Women's World Cup coming up shortly. But let's discuss Republic of Ireland, shall we? They exited the competition on Wednesday following that defeat to Canada. And Republic of Ireland manager Vera Pauw told Talksport's Shabana Hearn Canada deserved the win ultimately.
The experience shows in that they just wait for those few moments, and that they know how to react on situations. The thing is that if we would have been able to capitalize one more goal, then it would have been a different story, of course. But yeah, all credits to them bringing that caliber of players on the pitch. It shows the difference, and it shows that they are then the glue of the team and let everybody else function better.
I wonder, in the short time that you've had from full time to think, is there anything that you would have done differently in the first half or the second half of the game?
No, we have tried everything, as you've seen. Everything to get pressure forward, everything to change the game. More than 5 subs you cannot make. We played 15 minutes 4-4, and that's tremendous.
With the journey that you've been on, with 1 game left to play and nothing to lose, will the approach be different? Would you change anything going forward for this last game?
Players want to win. So we're going to analyze what we've done. We take the best things out, as always. We build on that. And next game will be, again, better. But how we're going to do it, what is it? Half an hour after the game. So we're with our heart in this game still.
Republic of Ireland manager Vera Pauw there reflecting on her side's exit from their first ever World Cup. Former England striker Leanne Sanderson is with me, looking back on England's 1-0 victory over Denmark. Leanne, are you still there with me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, sorry, I just heard something come in and I was like, I wonder what that is. And it wasn't you, it was fine. It's really disappointing. We discussed on the Women's World Cup show, didn't we, that, for Ireland, the improved performances and what they actually brought to the tournament, actually exceeded what they ended up getting out of it. But they'll want to go out on a high against Nigeria.
Yeah, they will, and it's been difficult because it's almost so close, but yet so far, because I think they played well, and it sounds crazy to say that over the 2 games, but, opening your first ever World Cup against Australia, one of the host nations, and then Canada, the Olympic champions, you're asking a lot, and I think they competed, in the Australia game especially. If Shiva wouldn't have given away that penalty, Steph Catley stepped up and put it in the back of the net, but they were competing, they had chances, Quinn had that chance in the end. So, and with Canada, they went ahead with that amazing Katie McCabe corner, that went in the back of the net. So going ahead against these Canadians, but then they brought on Schmidt and Christine Sinclair, one of the greatest ever footballers, and then Canada took it to another level. So Nigeria as well, after beating Australia, this game isn't also going to be a foregone conclusion at all. I think Nigeria have really surprised everyone during this tournament, but I feel for the Republic of Ireland because I felt like they've actually competed at times, but you can't just rely upon, Denise O'Sullivan and Katie McCabe and those types of players. I think if they had someone that could put the ball in the back of the net, then that maybe might make a difference. But I think Vera Pauw's team selection in the first game against Australia, I think, was questioned a lot as well.
Yeah, it certainly was. We needed to see Amber Barrett perhaps a little bit earlier, as you say. But with England's 1-0 win over Denmark, they've got 1 foot into the last 16, depending on how the 12 o'clock kickoff in Group D goes between China and Haiti. And they're still none the wiser as to who their opponents might end up being, because Group B is so open. It could be one of Australia, Nigeria or Canada.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing during this tournament as well with Australia and Canada, I don't think they've had their best. We talk a lot about England not playing at their best, but I don't think Australia and Canada have been anywhere near their best. I think Canada obviously got away with that result against Republic of Ireland, but obviously Australia losing to Nigeria, I don't think anybody saw that one coming. But we can't not talk about the fact that Australia don't have Sam Kerr, because I actually think I feel so sad for Sam Kerr, the fact that she's in this tournament. It might not ever happen again in her career with regards to hosting Australia and New Zealand hosting it. I'm saying she's going to play in another World Cup for sure, but I feel like they've really, really missed her. I think in the first game, obviously, when Steph Catley scored, then people don't really talk about how much of a loss Sam Kerr is, but I think we saw against Nigeria just exactly how much of a loss she'll be. So I think when I've seen these other teams play in Australia, Canada and Nigeria, I think England, even not playing at our absolute best, I still think we can beat these types of teams, because I'm not seeing them all firing on all cylinders.
I think they certainly can, with Lauren James in the mix. She's been speaking to television after that win over Denmark. We'll be bringing you our exclusive interviews with Talksport very shortly. Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, our England reporter, in the tunnel waiting for reaction from England players. Here's what Lauren James had to say when asked about the win over Denmark. It was a great feeling to score, a dream, and something I've been thinking about, but most importantly, just happy to help us get the win. I kind of had a thought in my head, and then as soon as it hit the net, it was just relief, and all my teammates were really happy for me and had a good feeling about me, which they did coming in. Very shortly, we will hear from the England camp directly with our England reporter, Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. But this is World Cup Live on Talksport 2. This is World Cup Live on Talksport 2. I'm Faye Carruthers. We're your home of the Women's World Cup. Every single game covered here across the network. Let's hear some reaction from the Lionesses' 1-0 victory over Denmark, shall we? Courtney Sweetman-Kirk is with England midfielder Laura Coombs.
First of all, talk me through your debut. What a moment for you.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't come in the best of circumstances, but I'm so happy to have made my debut out there, and it was everything and more that I thought it was going to be. Just, loved it.
You know, we spoke back at St George's Park about your journey, how you thought that this moment might not come for you, so now eventually it has. There's obviously a lot of emotions in it, and can you put it into words or not? Is it just mind-blowing at the moment?
Yeah, I don't think it's sunk in yet. I was just trying to soak up every moment then, and I know it won't come around again, so I was just, as I say, trying to soak up every moment, and I just, feel great at the minute.
In terms of the game itself, again, hard fought. I spoke to Lucy Bronze, I think it was yesterday or the day before, and she was saying, look, if we keep winning games 1-0, it doesn't matter as long as we get where we need to be. But do you think the performance improved as well?
Yeah, I think we started so well and looked really dominant, in control. Obviously, we were shaken a little bit by one of our best players having to go off, but we were really resilient, kept it strong, and that's all we needed. 1 goal, 1 win.
And talk to me about being a player on the pitch, or you're coming onto the pitches in that moment. How much in the back of your head, obviously, are you worrying about your teammate and what's going on, and how difficult is it to then focus on the game?
Yeah, a little bit. Obviously, you don't want anything bad to happen to any of your teammates. But every game I just try and watch everyone out there just in case I'm called upon, and today that happened, and I was just trying to do the best I can when I get out there.
And finally, you, as I say, you've got that moment now. Has it given you a taste for it to, for the rest of this tournament, you really want to push on, you want to start against China, and you want to continue going forward?
Yeah, definitely. I just need to watch it back. It's a step up from league football and the pace, and I just need to watch it back, try and learn as much as I can from that performance, and you never know what's going to happen next game.
England midfielder Laura Coombs there with our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk, who will very shortly be speaking to England manager Sarina Wiegman. If we get that before 12 o'clock, we will bring it to you here on Talksport 2. Otherwise, you'll be able to hear reaction on Talksport and, of course, on the Women's World Cup show with myself and Leanne Sanderson, which is on Talksport 2 at 6 o'clock tonight. The former England striker is still with me. Leanne, what did you make of Laura Coombs' comments there?
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see and hear like a player so delighted and kind of trying to take it all in, and it's true what she said. She wanted to probably come in under different circumstances, and I liked what she said when she said already thinking about analysing her own performance. And Courtney touched upon her playing with Laura Coombs at Liverpool, and she was actually a youth player when I was at Chelsea, and she's had an interesting journey like a lot of the players have, and these girls are living out their dreams, and it's fantastic to see. And I thought to be called upon in the way that she was so early, in the first half, towards the end of the first half, I thought it was pretty admirable when she came into the game and what she did, because she kept it simple, didn't do anything extravagant apart from that one opportunity where she kind of made that mistake. Other than that, I thought she looked really, really good and good on the ball, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah, what do you think Sarina Wiegman is going to take from this game? We'll hear from the England manager very shortly, but it felt whilst watching it that there wasn't a plan B really for the Lionesses once they lost Kira Walsh. She's such an important cog in that England machine, and we heard from Laura Coombs there. She's not quite the same player, is she?
No, she's not. And I think obviously I expected Jordan Nobbs to come into the game when Kira Walsh went out, but I'm delighted that Laura Coombs came in. I'm delighted for her. I think, sometimes in teams, the messages from the players and the staff will be completely different to what they're talking about internally, because there's things they have to keep within the camp. I think with Sarina Wiegman, she's quite blunt and she kind of says it how it is. And I know she was relieved against Haiti. I don't think she looked relieved today, but again, it's 1-0, still a win, and they can continue to go on in this way and get all the way to the final if they win 1-0. Obviously for us and the fans, we want them to win 3-4-0, but that's not how football works, Faye, and it's tournament football, as we know, so anything is possible. I think the positives for me were the overall performance. I thought was much better. The first half I thought was exceptional. I thought we controlled the game. They couldn't get near us. The only thing is, how do we implement that over a 90 minutes? If we can do that over a 90 minutes period of time, it reminded me of when we were at the Euros. We looked like that the whole of the 90 minutes at the Euros. Now you're adding all these other teams in, with regards to the US Women's National Team, Brazil, the Netherlands, all those types of teams, then obviously the quality gets better, doesn't it? So it's definitely better than it was the other day. But I do think we still need to have a more consistent performance. And I think a lot of it has got to do with the fact that Kira Walsh went out. I mean, that's the only thing you can put it down to. Not because of just her overall performance, but the way she is. The way that she is as a player, but how you're feeling as a teammate, because that was the major catalyst, wasn't it?
Yeah,
with regards to the team then changed the way they played, and I think it's based upon potentially that they were thinking probably about their teammate.
Yeah, absolutely. What does it do to you as a player? How do you separate and park it in your head when you've seen something like that?
We have to, but I've been on both sides. I've been that player that's been injured when I did everything in my knee when I was playing in America, and I know my teammates came in to see me at half time as soon as they could, and you could see they wanted to cry because I was in tears. And then on the other hand, I've had teammates that have been injured, and you kind of feel that kind of pit in your stomach feels a bit sick, without getting dramatic and extreme, because at the end of the day, everyone's probably so fearful now of the ACL injury. Even if you haven't done it in the game, that's automatically, as soon as you see a player go down, everybody now thinks it's an ACL, because unfortunately 9 times out of 10 that's become the new norm, and we have to change that. Well, she was caught on camera mouthing, "I've done my knee."
Yeah. And that's immediately what you think.
Yeah, it is. And even if she hadn't have said that though, Faye, I feel like we all kind of now know. It's not because we all think we're doctors and physios and trainers, but what I will say is that you can just see it, and it's happened so many times. And
I just need to interrupt you really quickly, Leanne, because we can get reaction from the England manager Sarina Wiegman speaking to our England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk.
To go out the way she had to go out. She's doing well. I talked to her, but we don't know yet what's going on.
She's obviously very disappointed, as are you and the team. Are you thinking, could that be a big blow going forward, or do you just first of all need to know obviously what's going on and what injuries she's sustained?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, we first need to know what's going on, but she doesn't go off the pitch very easily. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. It was really disappointing she had to go off the pitch, of course, and the way she had to go off the pitch. I think as a team we picked it up really well, and we had to find our feet again, but I think we did great. We showed some resilience, and at the end, we showed that we can fight too.
And your thoughts on the overall performance compared to Haiti? Have you seen an improvement, do you think?
I think it was a total different game. And I think also in this game that we had the first half and the second half were a little different. I think we started really well. We played very well. And in that part of the game we scored that goal. And we were really pressing and had the ball most of the time in the game. Then we got a little bit sloppy. They got some counterattacks, and then of course Kira got injured, and then we had to find our way again. And I think the second half we still had possession. They changed their press a couple of times, and well, at the end is what I said. It just became a fight. And we just really wanted to keep the nil, and that's what we did.
I just want to get your thoughts on Lauren James as well. Obviously, she came and made an impact against Haiti. You've then started her and she's repaid you with a wonderful goal. Just how good is she, and has she announced herself on the world stage with that?
Yeah, she has had a good game. You could tell that she was enjoying herself. I think the whole team was enjoying themselves on the pitch, that part of the game. And I think this game fitted her too, because Denmark dropped a little deeper. They make the spaces really tight, and she's really good in tight spaces. So that helped, and that helped other players too. We were happy with the way we played.
And depending on the result of the other game tonight, you could potentially qualify. Does that change if you do qualify the way that you look at the game against China, or is it just about you guys and what you're doing in that game?
Yeah, I haven't been thinking about that yet. We're first now recovering from this game, and then tomorrow, when we know everything, we're going to review this game and then prepare ourselves for China.
Serena, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Brilliant stuff there. England reporter Courtney Sweetman-Kirk with the England manager Serena Wiegman. And it was a bit of a fight, Leanne, in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was, and I'm sure they looked more comfortable than against Haiti overall. When you look at the game in its entirety, they certainly look better. But I think ultimately you want to be able to control the game a little bit better as it starts to get towards the end, because obviously it looked like Denmark were coming into themselves. We've seen in both games now, both teams have nearly scored, haven't they? You're going to have moments in games. You can't be perfect for the 90 minutes. It doesn't work like that. But what I will say, definitely a lot more positive I am today than, obviously, other than the Kira Walsh injury, than I was the other day against Haiti.
Absolutely. Right, I shall see you shortly, Leanne.
See you soon, Faye. I'm coming straight up to see you.
Leanne's about to join me for the Women's World Cup show, which you can hear on Talksport 2 at 6 o'clock tonight, or download on podcast via the Talksport app or wherever you get your podcasts. Next here on Talksport 2 is Fight Night Extra. The Lionesses certainly had to fight for that win over Denmark, but they have one foot in the last 16.
Tackling sport from every angle. Talksport 2.
It's headed into the area of Vanity for Sturridge!
Great feet, right-footed shot into the corner. Lauren James scores in a major tournament for England. What a moment for the Chelsea forward. It's a wonderful goal.
What a finish from Lauren James. And we saw in the Arnold Clark Cup this year, she got the player of the tournament, MVP, scored a lot of goals, in that tournament. And now Lauren James has to play every minute of every game for England.
Kira Walsh had to make a good interception on the stretch. And is she hurt here, Kira Walsh? She's gone down, and it could be a massive blow for England's World Cup hopes if Kira Walsh is to potentially struggle to come back anytime soon. When England now with Russo, lovely turn by Russo. There are three in attack here. Russo darting up the middle. To her right is Kelly Russo. Rifles it wide. Daly crosses high, right-footed. England with a looping header, and it's just wide. That was nearly the moment for Beth England and the Lionesses.
Via the Talksport app and on your smart speaker. This is Talksport 2.